Hello and welcome. I am the last hit point hero, and you have found your way to TPK Roleplay. We are so very glad you're here and hope you enjoy your stay. Over the course of the next just a handful of weeks, we will be playing our way through Wyvern Gaming's Stargate SG1 role-playing game in a custom crossed over limited series campaign named Stargate Phoenix and Basilisk. First and foremost, this actual play stream contains adult language, adult situations, some violence, other odds and ends that might pop up along those sorts of themes. And additionally, if you are unfamiliar with the Stargate SG1 IP, the primary antagonists are a group that are called the Gould. These are snake-like creatures that burrow into your brain, enslave your body, and pretend to be gods to dominate the entirety of the known Milky Way. So, not exactly the home team you root for. Speaking of not the home team you root for, we are joining Stargate Basilisk this evening. They have their own reasons for ending Gould tyranny. Under Basilisk's gaze, all shall fall. Safety tools are in place for the players. You, as a viewer, do not have such a luxury, so if anything makes you uncomfortable, feel free to gate away and return after a few minutes. After that has passed, barring that, kick back, relax, keep all heads, hands, zats, and cats inside the stream at all times. Slap that follow button to join the wonderful world of TPK Roleplay, and click the Discord link that I am certain will spontaneously appear in chat to be part of the growing TPK community. And above all else, be good. That's the rule. Be good. We are back with Stargate Basilisk, but we have a new member of the Baddies crew. So as we... Oh, I need to see what order we're in. So as we work our way around, do take a moment to say hello, introduce yourself and your character. And the question of the evening is, what is going through your character's thoughts regarding a new team member? Either the loss of the old one, the addition of a new one, the fact that you are a new team member. What is going on through your character's heads tied to that singular event? But let's get started by saying hello. In the top center of your screen, oh, frabjous day, callaloo, callalay, bless alleluias upon our cormid heads, for our murmic eyes do gaze upon her steric visage. It's Luke-a-Luck.
Hi, I am Luke-a-Luck, and I am playing Lieutenant Colonel Karis Russo. However, I don't know that the Lieutenant Colonel really applies so much anymore. Or at least doesn't matter so much anymore. And what's going through her head is that she has identified something that piqued her interest, and now she is following that because she thinks it can hook her up with more power. I'm trying not to spoil here. More ability to save Earth.
Yep, it makes sense. Go with the ones that are, racking up the wins. Go with the W's. It's a good policy. Continuing around in a counterclockwise motion, 'tis brillic eve. So all ought wabe about the burbling cove, none galumphing as shimmerously as he who banders with such zest. It's Purple Phil.
Hello, I'm Purple Phil. I'm playing Dr. Eric Martin today. What is going through his head about a new team member? Well, there's probably a couple different ways you could go with that. One being he's a little bit more, I think, upset at the loss of another team member, or more the betrayal and the incompetency of Basilisk to thoroughly vet their new members, and probably a little bit of fear of the same thing happening, and then a little bit of another person who's willingly leaving the Stargate program, which is a win in his book. So
Yep. Makes sense. Attrition one way or the other. So, and yeah, would there be any other betrayal? Don't know. Continuing down and around in the bottom left section of your screen, tum-tum trees of bornet bees, shim and shoom for he, the most faberous maxim lad, they say, who ever gubbed a jub-jub nest. It's DMF Saint.
I like that intro. Hi, I'm DMF Saint. I am playing Talos, who is a Tok'ra diplomat. And as far as a new member of the team, I'm kind of responsible, I guess, in a way, for them joining. So I'm happy with it. And I kind of look at Basilisk as I don't know, like the kind of orphanage for wayward mercenaries, where we're all kind of coming together to do our thing. So the more the merrier. I am a little upset at Gary, and if I find her, I will put a bullet in her head.
Yeah, that is I acknowledge your feelings in this situation.
Thank you.
And we'll work through those.
With a bullet in her head. Yep.
You know, that would do it. That would do it.
Yep.
And last but not least, in the bottom center of your screen, snicker snack and wish 'em round, his delighted barrels blur, biting deep of jabber fur with such chortling glory. It's Robotic Gentleman.
Hi guys, I'm Robotic. I will be playing our Una Scout. I'm Uran. And Uran is not necessarily mad at our betrayal. She took her advantage. She saw an advantage. She took it. I didn't get hurt from it, so it's a wash to me. And with our new companion, we'll see.
Uran with the kicking back, relaxing, and just, you know, you made it. That's good. Everyone made it. That's good. We'll just have to see. And I am the last hit point hero. You have joined us in the middle of a little bit of a switch that took place. So I think it might be a good idea to bring everyone up to speed with a previously on. Luke Luck, if you wouldn't mind.
Previously on Stargate Basilisk.
Then
We're being,
take the Hatak or take from the Hatak.
I'm sorry, we're being sent to a what now?
A spaceship.
Well,
A very powerful spaceship.
I don't know about that. I forgot to pack my spacesuit. Great. She's as she's looking at it, and Uran's kind of looking around. She goes, right, now let's just give it that special something. And she's going to pull in, like, reach out of her pack and stick in a small device. It is a gold brick looking item with bold lettering and kind of Sharpie on the side in her handwriting. She's going to stick it into the DHD and start wiring it in, humming a song to herself.
What would one do with jar of snake?
Does it smell bad?
Can I open it?
You can try to open it, yeah.
Yeah,
I recognize
it.
it.
Open it. See what it is.
It is definitely a ghoul
Oh yeah, I open
in its
fire.
larval state.
I open fire.
Right. I'm not going to make you roll for minigunning a symbiote. But what I will say is everyone on this floor suddenly hears.
Gary, are
Somehow
we good?
No one
Are we
knows
good?
who Gary is threatening.
We're great. Good even. Just a gal trying to get home.
What?
You go first. Leave the crystal and the detonator.
All right. Step aside, Thalos.
Yeah,
Talos.
I forget.
Basilisk would learn the address of the Phoenix site.
And Gary knows the address to Basilisk, so you know.
I guess what he said is true. You are a person of action, it seems.
Are you not going?
Fucking.
Gary walks through, Alton walks through, White walks through, and then I just turn to Talos and say, we'd better go before somebody drops a house on us.
GM, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is the ship stable enough for us to wait for the sarcophagus to get here?
The answer is
He wants
no.
it so bad.
That's twice I wanted one of those dang things and I didn't get it. Yeah, tell us to start dialing home.
And I believe that brings us up to speed. We are going to pick up with the Basilisk crew just as they go, let's say, stumbling through the gate after that encounter with Phoenix. The first three, our expected members, Uran, Talos, Doc Martin, all make their way through, with Nokkor standing arms crossed. After a breath and a raised eyebrow from Nock, Lieutenant Colonel, or maybe former Lieutenant Colonel, Rousseau, steps through, and the gate closes behind her. Rousseau, around you is what can only be described as a sewer. Scattered off to the side are some empty boxes. A couple of them you recognize as crates that the SGC uses for their goods and materials. There's a mount. There's a Fred. There is a mounted Matak plasma cannon. And there is a blue glow encasing this part of the sewer. A 7-foot-tall Unos with coppery skin and prominent chin and brow bones looks up at you as you come through. Who is this? Where is other?
Paris Russo. I don't know about the other.
A new recruit. The other is no longer on our side of the field.
What you mean?
You do a better job recruiting.
I do not recruit.
Whoever
I
you would
handle.
Clearly not handled very well in this case. Gary turned over to the SGC, pretty sure.
I think the more appropriate thing is that Gary was always working for the SGC.
Also accurate.
That is unfortunate.
Cost us the Hatak, and could have got it otherwise.
Equally unfortunate.
I feel like the asteroids might have cost us the Hatak.
I could have got the generator working, and the shields, and then the engines, and if I had the time and I had place, could have taken care of it, but Gary got in the way.
Nock, would you like to redial the last coordinates for us so that Eric can go back and fix the Hatak?
I can't anymore. Lost all the power.
We can always check back.
Get a
So-
spacesuit, we could probably fix it pretty easily.
My
It's still there.
understand. Is this your base?
Welcome home.
Nice digs. Someone want to show me to my room?
Through this whole conversation, Udran is probably taking off his equipment, and he'll look at you and say, "Go left. Be careful of spiders." As he walks off to go find his, they go train his little monkey gerbil thing.
Yeah,
I'm
the
gonna
big
look
ones.
up at Thalos, right? Is that how I pronounce it? Okay. And just like give you a look of like, we're gonna talk later. And then kind of step forward onto this plank and begin walking. If Nock does not look like he's gonna shake me down or anything, he's just like, hey, cool, you're here, then I'm gonna walk and start looking around.
Yep. Nox seems fairly unconcerned with the addition, eyeing you perhaps a bit suspiciously, but doesn't seem to be going out of his way to interrogate, question, or otherwise harass you in any way. We shall see if she is an asset. No, Hatak. Was there anything retrieved?
I didn't get anything. How about you? Alice? Around?
No, I got nothing.
Beyond information, I think we came up dry.
Waste of time.
Well,
We provide opportunity.
perhaps not
Nock,
waste of time.
is it?
Nukkor. And
You in charge here?
lured me. I oversee. I pass along instruction.
Who is
I
in charge?
handle my masters.
Do they have names, these masters?
None which concern you.
Do
You,
you all know their names? Is it just me that doesn't?
Nope.
None of us know.
Don't care.
let me fill you in.
Yeah.
Basilisk provides the opportunity to impress. We present the possibility. You bring back things worthwhile. I pass it along to the higher ups. Impress them, and you will have a place in the new order when gold fall.
When the gold fall. You got a plan for that?
I don't plan. I handle.
All right. So you're just handling the downfall of the gold.
I am handling all of them.
Okay. Good talk, Knock. Feel like I learned a lot.
Good.
So, do you guys do a debrief, or should I just go and find my bunk?
Did
What
you
did
bring anything back?
Just myself.
You?
I forgot to tie up a bow for you. I'm sorry.
That is debrief. I will report. Take time. We'll let you know when More opportunity comes.
Opportunities to impress, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Russo,
Mm-hmm.
as I gathered from our conversation, we have still made more progress in bringing the current Guaul down than you have. The ends justify the current situation, no?
Yes, I sure hope so. Though, just judging by what I saw on the talk and everything I'd read in briefings and managed to put together myself, I would have expected a little bit different setup here on the other side of the gate, if I'm being honest.
We have, and Talos looks at Nock, an excellent PR team.
Seems so. Alright,
And-
so just up and to the left. Yeah. Watch out for spiders, whatever that means.
Big spiders.
How big?
You will see them coming.
Okay. Alright, Russo's gonna walk down the stairs and head up to the left to go take a look around this place. And if, again, I think she is expecting some sort of she's used to security clearances and things of that nature, so if everyone's just chill, she's gonna spend as much time as possible over the coming amount of time just exploring every nook and cranny of this place.
Yep, sounds great. There is, under the handouts, one that says Basilisk Base. And as you wander about, there are computer terminals in various places that you can access, some in better repair than others. A few missing their monitors that have been all pulled together into a super workstation. But you can probably find at least one working that will give you some of the base information on Tunok, which is what you learn is the name of this planet that this base is on. So that will provide a lot of answers for you. Besides that, a few days are going to pass without any updates from Not Core. So if there's anything downtime-wise that you'd like to take part in, or any other conversations specifically you'd think you might have in the next few days, this is a good time for it. When you're clear with all of those, then we will go to the next mission.
Uran wants to continue trying to train his what do we call these things again?
I just call them monkey things.
Monkey things. There we go.
It's a palm-sized monkey.
He's paw.
Let's see.
You're going to spend your time working with your little pet.
An 18.
An 18. And your goal, if I remember, is you wanted to train it to steal stuff.
Well, it already knows how to do that. I'm going to teach it to bring that back to me.
Yep.
I basically want a poo. Let's put it like that.
So you spend a couple more days. You've already spent a few days working with your little monkey friend. And you are able to get it to... did you ever name this, by the way?
We'll call it Ron, just for the sake of confusion.
Ron. You're going Uran with a pet Ron.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope they don't start running. Ooh, run.
Ran.
Yeah.
The few days that you've worked with this creature before, and the few days now, is enough that you fairly reliably have a little monkey pet that will hang out in your backpack or your pocket quietly until you send them off to try and take something. Basically, I will let you use sleight of hand at a distance.
Neat.
Okay. Only basic things, and it might not always come back with what you think it'll come back with.
That's fair.
All right. So that is what you get in your downtime, a couple days of working. Doc Martin, I do want to update you because I'm certain you went to go check. The conservatory seed that you planted that did not grow that well before has started to sprout. And it has pushed its way through that doorway. And you have essentially one of those like geodesic domes that is pushing its way up toward the surface. It's growing slow, but you have essentially a little greenhouse that you can access. And when you go into it, you can see the swirling black smoke that the doors were keeping at bay is stopped by its crystalline panes of glass. It hasn't made it very far. It's probably only big enough for, a couple people to stand upright in, maybe think a big tent. But it is definitely growing, and it's growing upward toward the surface.
Good to know.
So downtime for everyone else, as you have a few days that pass.
Talos is...
Oh.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask Gate Master if you could update the name on my room. That'd be great.
Oh, that... I think you can type that.
And at some point, there will be quite a ruckus as Russo is just clearing everything out of this room and throwing it out onto the walkway, and then doing like a deep clean of this room, and then putting back in only what she wants and leaving the rest in little piles on the walkway.
There's surprisingly little in here. While there are some various, rotten bits of furniture and those sorts of things that were left behind, the collection, let's say, by Basilisk has been, they haven't brought a whole bunch home in way of souvenirs. A lot of what they brought has been pretty useful, rather than, potted plants and that sort of thing. There is, as you start going through all of Gary's stuff, her suitcase. It has a few changes of clothes, some other odds and ends, a couple books, and there are also about 4 gold and yellow bricks that she has been installing in THDs any chance she gets. You recognize them from the ones that you came across on Phoenix Team, and the conversation at the end of the parting of ways, let's say.
Mm-hmm. And they don't actually appear to be explosives like we thought, but some sort of communication hack.
That is the best guess that you got just before leaving Phoenix. That was the last assessment. Is this some kind of communication device?
All right, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, sounds good. And I will remind everyone, you do get mechanical benefits from using certain odds and ends. So if you would like a mechanical benefit of some kind for cleaning out, then I'm happy to extend one to you.
So Talos would like to spend as much time focused on over this, because is it just a day that we're doing this, or is this like over a time?
An indeterminate handful of days.
So Talos over that time would make sure that Russo has everything they need. New party member. I feel responsible for that whole situation. And showing around, getting settled, different places. I would like to mechanically do that. Since I am a diplomat, I'd like to mechanically upgrade the rec hall, because it's kind of like leisure activity of like, the team building kind of situation, and I can't think of any other of the downtime activities that really fits that besides rec hall.
Sure.
So
the place that you have set aside for rec hall, you spend your time improving that. So it now grants it will, next time it's used, grant a +2 bonus to those that use it.
And +1 for today.
And +1 for today.
Yes.
All right, the doctor has a lot of things on his mind.
Sure,
I know
we've got
what
a
he's
couple
going
days.
to do. Out of curiosity, does Russo share those gold bricks at all?
No, I would have left them outside in the piles. I probably would have just kept one to myself.
Would I know what those are?
You would not have seen them yet.
Okay, I didn't think I did. That sucks, and that's a bummer. But all right, in that case, yeah, if there's nothing that needs to be done on the crystal building, I think the doctor's gonna take some of his frustration out on the firing range.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I recall, there are spiders and cages that were taken to the firing range that are released in order to use as target practice.
Out of curiosity,
Mhm.
because I had another idea.
Mhm.
What would be the chance that I could go through the gate? I'm guessing Cornot would stop me.
So
Or not
it's
Cornot,
not come up yet, so you're welcome to go and try if you'd like.
I think you would try.
Okay. So you approach the gate, and as you walk up to the Shapa-Ai, to the Stargate, Notkor steps around the corner. Going somewhere?
I had something I wanted to deal with.
Which is?
Remember where we gated, not last time, but before that?
Yes.
The
The trip to Kiri.
Kiri, yeah. I think I might have left something there. I want it back.
Going alone?
You want to come with?
No.
Am I clear to go through? Or are you gonna lock the door on me?
We shall see when you get back.
And yeah, the
He will.
doctor will dial the gate and go through and shoot a bunch of monkeys and maybe come back with a flashlight and a radio.
Okay.
That is some petty.
He is in a petty mood. I want that to count as a firing range activity, but I'll let you decide if it can.
I will let it count as firing range, and I will let you make either a investigation or a survival check to see if you come back
Sure.
with either a radio or a flashlight.
Okay. Investigation, you said?
Yes.
This man
25.
across the
25. You hop through the gate and find yourself back in the conservatory within a conservatory on the planet of Kiri. As soon as you show up, those palm-sized monkeys start to gather and come towards you.
Right away. Before they even close distance.
And these little things scatter. You start looking around. Through that, it takes a couple hours. It gets to the point where this inner conservatory where all of these little creatures were is almost completely flushed out. Either they have found a way to escape, or you have taken care of dozens and dozens and dozens of them. And you do find a flashlight still intact. And you do find the radio broken.
That's fine. There was something else I was going to do that I didn't state, and I'm wondering if you'll let me do it.
Okay,
I'm
what's
going to
that?
take a C4 and a detonator, and
Okay.
one of the flamethrower ammunition tanks.
Okay. So we've just got the 2 tanks for the flamethrower, and that's it.
Just,
So you
just
pretty
taking
much
one of the tanks.
Yep.
There's still
I'll
another
say
tank.
you. Okay, you've got 1 tank left. So
I'm
yep,
gonna.
I'm okay.
Do you know what I'm doing here?
I have a feeling.
Okay. All over all the plants around. So set up a charge before I go through. Shoot up all the glass around the area. Let the dark smoke come in. Go through. Press the detonator. Done. No one goes
Oh.
back to that planet.
All right, that is
This
noted.
is the petty mood that Dr. Eric Martin's in today.
So the planet Kiri is essentially no anyone that returns to it is going to have a very unpleasant experience. Put it that way. Anything else before Notkor collects you all after a few days?
I'm good.
When you come back through, especially as you come back through and get the flamethrower tank and go back through to the conservatory to finish the job. Notcore will be standing there. You come back without the tank you went through with. Feel better?
A little bit. I also got some useful things this time. And he holds up his flashlight that he realized he had lost, and the broken radio that Thalos had lost. Got a little time. I'll see if I can fix this radio.
He turns the force field off and lets you pass through. Anything else from anyone
love
else?
me? Boo Boo, you do love me. Thank you.
All right. A couple days pass. At least you think they're days. You're underground, and I'm sure Doc Martin has established some kind of clock on the computer, so you have some idea of what time it is. Every once in a while, these spiders make their way through, Rousseau, you don't really get comfortable, per se, but there's something secure about this place, at least to a degree. And as all of you are lounging in that central living area, Notcore comes up to the side and goes, Basilisk, mission, Shoppa Eye. And he turns and walks to the Stargate.
About time.
Russo, that is usually how things go here.
Guys, do you usually just walk through blind, or is there like, do we have a little gather
We have a
round?
probe.
There's a recon.
Do you ever know what the mission is, or does he just send you through and say, grab the shiny?
The mission is always the same. Get as much equipment and supplies as we can. The more powerful we are, the easier and faster it will be to take down the current Goa'uld regime.
Okay. She will just follow the rest towards the Stargate.
As you arrive, Notcore turns and looks at you and goes, mission is to collect the powers that be. Say weapon is at this address. Find it. Return it. That
What
is
kind of
all
weapon?
they say. Something electro-atmospheric.
Talking like smaller than a bread box, bigger than a bread box.
The device itself is supposedly quite large. The important bit can be carried by two.
Dr. Martin, weren't you saying that you could use more power around here to upgrade the facilities?
Oh, for sure.
Seems
We
like
can get plenty
something.
of useful out of this.
Yeah. Seems like a pretty important artifact for us to retrieve.
What's this planet like?
I have address. You have recon probe. I
Right.
handle you, not the planet.
You're doing splendid, Knock. Great handling.
Thank you.
I feel handled. Do you feel handled, Doc?
You know, I'm surprised how much I think we have in common. And he's gonna grab the probe. He's gonna dial the gate and grab the probe and try and start moving on this.
The gate begins to dial. As always, the chevrons lock in. The gate itself spins, and the wormhole is established without any problem at all. Your recon probe, which floats a few feet above the ground, think the Imperial recon probes, if you're unfamiliar with Stargate's version, slips through. I believe PJ is what Gary called the little thing.
Not
There
his
is-
name anymore.
So we need to call it something else.
It's called probe.
There is the, as it passes through, the probe rides through the wormhole to the far side. The vacuum. And for Rousseau, the probe returns its video feed to a 2000s, early 2000s era laptop that essentially has a crystal ball on top, and the video feed comes through that orb. And there are other sensors along there that you're able to research. Unlike Phoenix, Basilisk is in charge of their own recon. So if you have any questions or use of the probe that you would like, simply tell me, and usually we'll have a probe to move around, but that may not happen this time. You'll be able to ask whatever questions you'd like, and if the probe could have picked it up on sensors, then I'll have you roll to interpret it, that sort of thing.
What's
So-
the weather look like?
That is the first thing Rousseau is looking for, and as the video feed comes into the vacuum, there are a few moments of positive readings and a clear view of a scorched landscape. There are snaking blue and white veins of electricity pushing out away from the Stargate. And when I say a few moments, I mean just a few moments. The probe passes through, begins moving forward, and tumbles. The feed goes erratic. It's hard to tell what directions happen. It looks like the probe fell off something or got hit by something. The initial survivability readings fall off. Electrical discharges spark all around the probe. And before it loses power, the reading of the distance between the probe and the Stargate increased much more than you would expect.
How
And then
much
the
more?
feed. Let's see. It passes through the entire feed that you get back is about probably 6 seconds of video. And at the end of that 6 seconds, the Stargate is 150 feet away from the final reading from the probe.
Okay, who
As
wants
it
to do
goes-
this physics? Is the atmosphere 9.8 meters per second squared acceleration toward gravity?
Yes.
Okay. So how far?
I think it'd be farther then.
When the probe goes, or when the vacuum goes dark, Notkor looks at you and goes, "That was the only one you have."
Yeah, I know. Well,
that thing
weather,
just-
I guess, is stormy.
Right. Do you have something else to send through there, or are we pushing someone through next?
Does that count as a volunteer?
No.
While they're
Uran.
doing this, Unaz is over there molding C4 into, let's say, small packages big enough for Ron to carry.
Okay.
Oh my god, I love it. Just strap some C4 to the monkey's back and send him in. Let's go.
To answer your questions, the storm, the blue and white tendrils of electricity appeared to have been on the ground, not in the air. Everything else just seems scorched. I think desert. I didn't restart the music. Sorry. So, a desertish landscape that looks like it's been burned over and over again.
Also, you said down, right? Like the signal went out and down, or do we just get a distance?
It went out and down, and then there was distance
Okay.
being recorded.
So it wasn't like, Dorothy went like up the freaking funnel cloud, right?
Go ahead and give me a, let's say,
Oh,
a
come on.
science check.
Oh, come on. That's not
as
my
you
good
try
thing.
and as you try and interpret these results. A
16.
You start looking at the results and you're able to piece together a few things just from the bits and pieces of information that came through in those 6 seconds. You pick up that The probe definitely fell off of something.
Okay.
It definitely experienced a high electrical discharge that shorted out a lot of its other sensors. And it probably fell off something that was moving quite quickly.
I have several questions, Dr. Martin.
Yes.
Is there a way that we could shield ourselves from electrical discharge to prevent happening to us what happened to them, to the probe?
Without some serious additional anything.
What would you need?
I don't know, a week and a lot of stuff I don't think you have in that vest of yours.
You would be surprised. It appears... I have no other way of saying this, but it appears from the data that the Shabai is moving.
Okay.
That makes sense. No, that adds up.
It does?
Yeah.
Adds up to what?
How would that make sense?
Well, the electrical discharge. If the gate's moving, I mean, Stargates are made out of naquita. The amount of energy in those things, if it's moving fast enough, if there's anything around, the electrical discharge could be based just off of that.
Are you saying that the atmosphere is powering the gate, or the gate is powering the discharge?
Well, it could be the atmosphere, or it could just be if it's scraping against anything on the ground or whatever. Anything in the gate moving that fast while it's open could cause that. Could also be whatever is the gate is attached to that's moving it. Gates don't move.
Yeah, that brings up a good question, GM. Has Talos or Talos' symbiote ever heard of a Shabai moving?
So,
Isn't on a talk.
Yeah.
So just like having a Stargate on a spaceship, you can put Stargates wherever you want. Now, how does dialing work? Well, the dialing goes to that Stargate's address. But because of how the addresses work, it doesn't have to be in some specific location. It's just got to be close. And there is a lot to be said of if you dial an address and a gate is close, even if it's not the gate, it'll open up at that gate.
And we're talking like galactic, like
oh
space
yeah,
close, not like country
space close,
okay.
Not country close.
Got it.
You could have a Stargate orbiting a planet, which is what it was
That's how it works on Hatox, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
this-
a talk
Close
goes
to
into
the
a
planet,
system,
it uses
you
the
can
planet's
override.
address to...
Yep. And so that now, if you get far enough away from the planet, use hyperspace to move away, then that's where all of a sudden it's not so easy to dial a gate. But you could easily have a gate on the same planet and be able to reach it and still move it. The wormhole will stay stable.
Got it. I'm not the strategist. I'm the talker. Surprisingly.
Don't think we're left with much else to do, but if we're gonna get in here and get this, we're just gonna have to move through.
How far did it go before it fell off?
Give me a perception check as you're reading through the data. There is the video feed itself and kind of getting that general idea.
I basically want to know, like, are we going to have at least a place to step once we go through? Or is it just going to immediately be like, boom, right off the cliff? Wait, hold on. None of my stats are there.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can't import your character sheet. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Let me just find my PDF that's a little outdated, and we'll go off that.
I can get into
Oh,
your
that's
old one real
right.
quick.
Transmog is a pro account thing, isn't it?
I couldn't figure out how to get it to work.
Oh, gotcha.
It's complicated with the different sheets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I open up,
Well, you know what? I rolled
So?
nope. I rolled a 5. So, and last I updated this PDF, it was a +3 on perception. So
that's what it is on your sheet on the other.
okay, sweet.
So you take a look, and all you can tell is it's very narrow. That's all you can pick up from taking a look at the video feed.
Okay. I'm gonna look at the others and be like, again, is the plan to just barrel through?
Do you have another one?
No, not so much. Just wondering how you usually handle these things.
Usually we don't lose the probe.
Okay. And you...
We work on our
that's-
feet.
Okay. Work on our feet.
This is going to be good.
Yeah.
See,
And
knock
Notcore
harder
just
one.
leans against his staff and leans against the wall with the weird half grin on his face.
Uran.
Notcore, I never asked you this. How many teams have you had before us?
Unimportant.
Feel like
You
it's a
are-
high number.
Not my first.
I had a feeling on
Yeah.
that.
Knock, would you go through and probe for us?
No.
All right. Doc, you seem to know science stuff. I've studied
Sure.
a little on Stargates. If I tie a rope around me and walk through the Stargate, it should hold.
You won't go through.
Right?
The rope won't go through until it's fully through. The Stargates use a buffer system. Object has to go all the way in before it'll even go out. If you stand there with your arm out, the arm doesn't go through until you step the rest of your body through.
What if one of us hold the rope and our arms go in? The rope would technically be through, but our arm would not.
I think the rope would go through and your arm would stay here.
But
all
then
of
the
the rope
rope
needs to
wouldn't
go in.
really be helping me at that point.
The whole object needs to go in before the Stargate will let it go.
Okay.
Uran will go. He's already suited up. His
Yep.
little buddies
Appreciate it, Uran.
under. You take too long to plan. I'm good.
I have one more concern. If that we are bringing something back that requires a lot of help to carry, how are we going to get our... Sorry, the player forgets. Mal, what's the thing that carries
The probe?
things?
Or the Fred?
Oh,
The Fred. How are we going to get our Fred through?
We
If
won't.
there's not a lot of room, I don't think we're taking the Fred.
Understood.
Hopefully, if the gate's moving, we can move the gate into the object we need.
okay.
I am a fan of your optimism.
Do you guys use like authentication code or anything to get back through, or how does this work?
We walk through, Nox sees us, he lets us in.
Why do you have so many rules?
You know, I guess I don't really anymore. We walking through?
I'm doing a turn and start walking through.
Okay.
Okay. Uran slips through the Stargate, and we are going to take a just very brief break. No more than 5 minutes or so, if that is all right with the message that came through. And we will be right back to see what Uran finds on the other side. For that brief break, we will pick up right where we left off with Uran slipping through the gate itself. The hiss and squeal of the wormhole fills your ears. And as you get to the other side of the gate, a whole new hiss and squeal fills your ears. As you can very distinctly hear the crackling of electricity, the rumbling of thunder, the rattling of train cars, and you look out at a just blasted landscape roaring by, the wind blasting by. You look down, your feet are just barely on an edge, probably 8 inches worth of train car remains before a small lip, and then the hole that the unstable wormhole made in the side of the train car that the Stargate is currently in.
Can I get around it back? Like, can I push it or get around it back into the safety of the car?
So you can scoot sideways, either to the left or the right, in order to not fall back through, so to speak, into the Stargate. Which actually, I don't know canon. What happens if you try and go through the gate? It's one way. I think you just can't get in. We'll say that it's gooey.
Okay. Can Uran spin the Stargate to make it safer for the rest of his companions so they don't fall to their deaths?
You can attempt to do so. So you scoot your way by to the side of the gate, and you are going to try and spin the Stargate 90 degrees.
Yep.
All right, go ahead and give me a strength or an athletics check.
24. 14.
Okay, 24 and 14. There's a big difference between those two.
Yeah.
14.
Sorry.
You start pushing, and the gate moves a little bit, but this is a 22-foot around ring made of solid naquita, and it weighs several tons. So you're not able to shift it.
Hey, Uran, you
Sorry.
doing okay out there?
Your radio
So-
crackles to life. It's staticky, but you can hear.
Don't run through. You will fall. It might be funny. In that case, what I'll do is, let's say I take some rope and tie a rope across the front of it.
Okay, kind of make a makeshift handrail.
Yeah.
All right,
Just
I'm
across
here
the
for
front.
it.
Mm-hmm.
You spend just a couple minutes it takes doing that. And I had... Roll 20 won't let me play my... Oh, I know why it won't let me play my music. Sorry. You are able to tie down the rope on one side. That's exactly why.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I opened something to check character sheet in the other game, and Chrome only wants you logged into one at a time. All right, so that's better. Now
Literally
I can
the
transfer.
entire reason I have Microsoft Edge even installed. That right there.
Yep. So, okay. So good tables, and what we have been doing for good tables is everyone essentially has an instant success in your pocket. You can share those with each other. Bad tables, I will 10,000 or 1,000 points at GM discretion. Yeah, I'll turn it into a bad table, so I'll get myself a success whenever I want it. And magic items wise, we'll address that here right away after everyone makes their way through. So you send the message back. You put the rope up. Tell everyone to go slow. Any other info you want to give to them before anything else happens?
Oh, no. They got enough. I'm not big on words.
Meanwhile, back at the sewer, I guess Russo's just like, feel like he's been silent for a while, or are we sure he's still alive?
We got a radio message back. You know what? We need to get you on our same radio frequency. And we need a new one too.
I was about to say that. Both of the radio frequencies should be on her walkie currently.
Mhm.
So
Put it back to the current one and go
we
through.
should wait until we get up with Uran before we switch that, because I'm not.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say let's keep it with the standard one for now, and then we'll switch it when we're all together. Synchronize watches. You ever do
Right,
that?
I'm gonna take the leap then.
Don't leap. You're supposed to step.
I was like, please say she leaped.
You take a step.
Figurative leap.
You take a
and-
step through.
Yeah, step carefully through.
There is the roar of the Stargate. You pass through. As your vision returns, there is scenery flying past you. There are arcs of electricity dancing across the ground out probably 50, 75 feet away from this vehicle here. And you're able to piece together pretty quickly that you are inside a train car. And the Stargate is exiting you, looking straight out the side.
I'm gonna just kind of look around, get my bearings, see Uran, and just kind of do the. Okay. You wanna click? Tell him. Next one. As I like move over.
It's safe
Wiggle your way
now.
back.
You can jump.
I'm not jumping. I'll go through that.
Yep. Pass through, same thing. There is a rope in the way that kind of catches you just a little bit. Little bit of a lip to the train car itself, and you are definitely looking out of a train.
Yeah, that last step is a doozy.
Talos will glance at Nock and go through. Gingerly and slowly.
Same verse. Make your way through in a train car. The four of you find yourselves rattling along in this train car. The sounds of electricity and thunder roaring around you, along with the rocking of the train itself. Quick glance around. This is a storage car of some kind. There are the remnants of a tarp on the ground that might have been thrown over the Stargate at some point. Boxes and odds and ends in various states of disrepair. They seem to have been made and remade hundreds of times before.
Let's find that DHD before we get too much further.
Okay. Go ahead and give me an investigation check as you start rifling around.
Sure. 27.
27. What's everyone else doing while Doc Martin starts rifling through everything?
I'm gonna start rifling through the rest.
Okay. Investigation as well.
Okay.
Urana's going to reattempt to move the Stargate, because if we have to make it out of here hot, we need to not have to do what we just did again.
An 11.
You're- 11. Okay. You're pretty certain that it would take some doing for the four of you to move a Stargate.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a definition of some doing, because why would anybody put a Stargate that way?
Well, I can't
Well,
answer
then
that.
it
Can't answer that question.
I mean,
but,
you could, but you don't want to. It's fair.
The concern is if you move this gate and it goes poorly, it might fall off the side. So that is for all of you to decide. The four of you together with ropes could probably turn it to make it a little easier to get in.
Just hope we don't go through a tunnel.
Bad reception.
Well, if the gate's sticking out and the tunnel's right against. Get a little. Have you ever spun a coin on a table? That's what I imagine happening.
You'll be okay.
So do you want to try and move it or leave it where it sits?
I'll leave it. Uran will leave it.
The 27 and the 11, you start digging around through all of these odds and ends. You're able to find some various tools of all sorts of kinds, primarily for, working on a train, it seems. But you also find some insulated boots and essentially waders that you think would probably extend a little bit of protection to electrical discharges. And there's a whole box of them.
All right, I'm gonna slip some of those on, and I'll just kind of point at the box. Rest of you want to boot up?
Uran will take a pair.
All of you, Saint. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, he Talos. I don't know if Talos has gotten his boots back, or more than his backup boots. So we'll definitely take boots.
All of you have resistance to lightning, essentially. So go ahead and jot that down. So you have resistance to lightning that you gained. Thank you for the magic item, because the magic of insulation has been extended to everyone. The other thing the 27 finds, or rather doesn't find, is you're quite certain, after about 15 minutes of looking, that there is no DHD in this train car.
Well, that's bad. Is there any other type of power source?
Did you bring any power with you?
Nope.
You do know that gates have been run by lightning strikes before. There's a lot of electrical discharges and lightning going on.
Yeah, I was looking if there's like an aqua generator, because you can like, you have to manually dial, but like a rotary phone, but you can do it.
Correct.
That's gonna be fun.
You do need power.
You need the power though to kickstart it.
Mm-hmm. All right. As you're looking around, trying to find odds and ends, no, you don't find a conveniently placed aqua generator anywhere nearby. The door sliding to the east opens up, and a young woman steps through with a massive wrench in hand, and when she sees you, she just freezes.
Uran will run up and grab her.
Okay. She screams. Give me a athletics check.
I would have tried to cover her mouth. I mean, you know.
We'll see how good the athletics check is.
All right. Let's see. Don't let me down. Did these curls for a reason. Boom. 30.
A natural 20. The door between the cars opens up. This young woman covered in grease, wearing leather and just other obvious work clothes, steps in, and Uran immediately, just like in a flash, steps up, grabs her, she goes, "Ah!" As you slap one of your massive hands over her mouth.
He'll simply say to her, "We don't want to hurt you, but Scream cannot guarantee."
You can feel her nodding under your hand.
All right, and I'll bring her over to the group. Doctor.
You make a friend?
Yes. Maybe someone who can tell us what we need to know. So
where are we? Do you understand us?
She nods her head beneath Uran's massive claw.
I'll move my hand off, but I'm still holding her.
Who are you then?
Where are we? Is the question.
You're on the Ishkur Line.
Okay. Which is a train, I assume?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what this thing is? I'm going to point at the Stargate.
She looks terrified. She looks over. That must be the hole that... Well, I heard a bang and the crash, and I came to check. I'm in the Union, and she holds up a wrench and a badge that she has around her neck. It says Trudy, Union Wrencher. It's not typed up, it's handwritten. There's some kind of scrawled signature on the bottom.
Hiya, Trudy? Trudy, we're looking for something very specific. Can you give me the rough passenger count of this line? And also, what are we looking for again? Some device?
Well, we're looking for a weapon, and then we're also looking for the DHD, otherwise we can't get out of here. So there should have been some crystals that came in like a little box, probably with this. Big orange ball with some like buttons.
I never heard of anything like that.
GM player's curious about this because he doesn't know.
Yeah.
How
go
far
ahead.
away can a DHD be and still be effective?
Canon, there's not a set distance that I know of. It might have been set at some point, but I mean it's a handful of, it's like
It's got to be relatively close, right? So it's definitely on
Relatively
this train,
close.
right?
Yes,
Probably within
well-
2 cars, maybe.
If they
So the-
if they have it, it could be undialable, like Earth's was.
yes. So the
Okay.
power for opening a wormhole comes from the gate that is dialing. So your DHD in the sewer is what powered these gates.
Got it.
So we're stuck here unless we got a power source.
You
But
want-
don't we need to
you want
dial
Back to
too?
the
Like,
Future.
or are we just gonna like
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
Wheel of
we're
Fortune
gonna have
shit?
to hand Wheel of Fortune this shit, probably.
So, conveniently, aren't we looking for a power source?
I believe so.
That's
The power source for
actually
the weapon.
quite clever. We probably it
If
wouldn't
we
be hard if
find
it has a static.
whatever we're looking for, not only do we find the thing we're looking for, but we got a way home. Trudy!
Yes.
Trudy, we're looking for a thing that's capable. It's bigger than a bread box. Maybe requires 2 people to carry it. Capable of generating a lot of power, all on its own. Do you happen to know what that would be?
The only power I know comes from the engine. Maybe the Union heads. No.
They here on the train, Trudy?
A couple hundred cars up. Yes.
I'm sorry, Trudy, could you... I'm sorry. I asked you earlier and I didn't really follow up. Could you tell me what the passenger count is on this train?
I don't know how many live in the further ups. The tail cars. Oh, I don't know if anyone's ever done a count. I know that we're down to 6,117 cars.
Down to.
The Ishkur Line was originally 10,000 cars.
Trudy, let me ask you a question. Is there anyone on this planet that lives not on the train?
You can't survive off the train. She points to the gap and all of the electricity that is arcing across the ground. We can't get far enough away to get off the train, and we can't stop the train. As she kind of leans and points, and way in the distance you can see that the train just extends as far as you can see. There must be some kind of slow curve that it just took, and way in the back you're probably, it's hard to guess how many cars in either direction because it's as many cars as you can see. There is a rolling black storm cloud in the direction behind the train. We have to stay ahead.
Who maintains the track, Trudy?
I don't know. I'm a union wrencher. The track's always been there. We just care for the train.
I'm gonna look at the rest of the group. I'm worried we might be here a while.
Wait,
Okay.
the track? You mean the path?
I guess so, Trudy. I'm sorry, Trudy. I'm not with the union. I don't know much about it. So if you could just help me to understand, we're from way up front on the train. and I am just
You-
taking a wild stab at a bluff that's where the upper class is from.
You're with the further ups?
Yep,
Uh,
we are
oh,
further ups. We're just back here taking care of some stuff, looking for this item.
Why would you come back here? You shouldn't. You need to.
Item's
I
very
need to
important,
talk to my
Trudy.
union
I
head.
appreciate your help, but Trudy, listen to me. This is a very sensitive matter, and perhaps if you help us out, we can help you out.
I don't know what you're looking for. I think you should. I think I should
Trudy,
take you to
look
the
at me.
union
Look
head.
at me. You and me. We're gonna do this together, okay, Trudy? No need to panic. We're just gonna take. I don't want to be here forever. I don't want to ride a train for the rest of my life. So Trudy, we're gonna get down to it. Is there some sort of directory anywhere? Like a blueprints? Mechanical? Do you got some sort of Renters Union blueprints for the train?
We know how to care for the cars at this point. It's been a very long time. You should know that. What do you mean, not spend the rest of your life on the train? This is how we survive. I mean, the Ishkur Line saved us.
This cart. We don't want to be on this cart.
I mean
Oh,
the
this
lower
cart.
down part of the train. Like, I don't want to be over here from...
let's-
you know,
we
like
can-
when I say train, it's like train. But up there, it's like train. You with me, Trudy? I'm just gonna look at Doc like, kind of like, thank you for the save.
Rain. It's different.
It's all in the, voice, really.
My
Emphasis.
There we go. Thanks, Doc.
my apologies. I could take you to the union heads. There's actually a meeting going on soon. The president's about to choose a successor.
Interesting. Interesting. How does
we'll
that
need
work?
to- It's a celebration. I thought if you're from the further ups, then this happens.
We
gotta
are
let it
just testing whether you know.
every.
Ron is rolling his eyes at you guys. I just want you to know that.
Go ahead and give me a deception check. You can have advantage because everyone is in on it, and whoever wants to lead it is fine with me.
Not me.
It should probably, well, could be me.
Ooh, you do it, not me.
I'm not bad at it, but
You can each roll if you want, or one of you can roll with advantage. Just tell me before you roll and see them both.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna sacrifice for the group. I'm gonna use my instant success.
Okay.
I forgot about that.
We are we are down to 3 remaining good tables. They will look at you. Yes, of course. The retirement every 50 years. The president retires and chooses a successor. It's usually a union head, and then we need to vote on a new union head. So I'm a card-carrying member. I'm gonna go vote as well. They've gathered to. It's a few hundred cars. We can head this way if you'd like. Toward the front. You have to let go of me, though.
Before we go, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page that we might. This is a situation we were not prepared for. And I'd like us all to trust each other to do your jobs, but also let's stay as together as we can. I feel like that is the safest bet. That was supposed to be inspirational. I'm sure you're all inspired. And you all get. Hang on. I gotta roll a die. Can't remember what it is. I think it's D8.
It's the tension die, which is a D6 for this
A
mission.
D6. So you all get 2 bonus HP. While you have that bonus HP, you are inspired. You will get advantage on charisma saves. And I will say advantage on persuasion checks.
Yep.
We're gonna need a lot of that, considering I'm carrying a chain gun.
Yeah, I know. That's why I made sure to inspire before we leave this car. Whew. Okay. Yep.
Oh, good.
So charisma saves and persuasion checks.
Okay.
As long as you have the extra HP.
Rana, let her go and say, "I follow."
Okay. And Trudy starts leading you toward the front of the train. You pass between cars, and when you do, that very first set of doors you go through, Rousseau, since you mentioned the tracks, you look down and there isn't a track underneath this. It just seems to be essentially riding a bolt of lightning, for lack of any better descriptor. And there's just, as you pass between the cars and look down, everything about it seems to be what you'd expect of a train, other than the fact that it seems to literally be riding lightning.
Can I make a check on how that lightning thing is working?
At just a glance, there wouldn't be any way to know. It would take some research and tools and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Um,
If we're gonna keep
it's-
moving, yeah, it makes sense that I can't do it. But okay.
Yep. Initially, you would think that it could function like a monorail in many ways. I don't know. It would take a huge amount of power. You do know that. You start heading toward the front of the train, and as Trudy leads you through, she still seems nervous and a little uncertain, but she has, accepted that you are further ups. You pass through what is some of the just most lived-in cars imaginable. There are bunks stacked on top of each other. There is the wear and tear on the inside, and even the metal paths on the floor beneath you. You can see the wear through it. There's people, but not a huge number. Every car has 3-4 people in it. They all look at you with various levels of curiosity and fear and uncertainty. And it takes a while to move up. And as you move through these various cars, you move up to one. It seems to be a sleeping car of some kind. There are just a huge amount of bunks built into the side of the cars. And I'm going to stick you in the back of it. I don't have Trudy on the map, but Trudy's just right in front of you. Sort you in a little bit more of a reasonable way. There we go. Trudy is just in front of you in the middle, and as you enter this car, rather than having 1, 2, 3 people in the bunks are empty. And standing at the far end is a single figure with his arms crossed. What you got there, Trudy? He steps forward, and a half dozen of his companions, you suppose, come in behind him. Metal rings against metal as chains are unreeled and heavy pipes tap against the wall. The bosses pay a bit of a bonus to any who show up with new hires like this, won't they? You looking to collect, Trudy? Collect all your own? You're not going to share? Oh, that's right, Trudy. You joined up with the union. You got dues to cover, don't you, Trudy? Come on, Trudy, you can freelance with us. It'd be just fine. She just kind of freezes. These are higher ups, Matthew. The group look at each other and just scoff. They're not higher ups, Trudy. They're not dressed nice enough. What are you, an idiot? But they... Who else could they... What else could they,
You don't
they
like
be?
my clothes?
How familiar are you with the style that is currently in fashion with the higher ups?
Look, I'm a freelancer, son. I get my job straight from the top. I don't mess with the union heads. I don't mess with the go-first. I've met myself a further up or two, and you are no further up.
Maybe they have bad style choices.
Maybe they have bad... Listen to him, boys. He's got some kind of... Trudy found some kind of comedian.
What is a comedian?
Tell jokes. Fun. I mean, he doesn't know what a comedian is.
See, we're higher ups.
Look into my face and see that I'm not joking.
Well, fine. Joking or not, Trudy, you let them be. We'll take you up to the further ups ourselves and get ourselves some straight answers and the bonus that comes with it.
Kind of bonus.
No need to worry about paperwork, Trudy.
Uran will step past Trudy and say, Uran will stay with tiny human. I don't like you.
You are one ugly son of a bitch.
And you, I have excremented larger. And he is going to point his minigun in that direction, rev it up, and take a shot at the ceiling for an intimidation check.
All right. You open up at the ceiling. Go ahead and roll intimidation with advantage.
13.
You start ripping through the ceiling. Parts of the ceiling come down. Trudy yells, "What are you doing?" All of them dive for cover. And I suppose if that be the way it is, we probably ought to roll initiative.
Ooh.
All right.
Remember to click on the token before you roll, because I always forget. Not today.
Boom.
It's not gonna put in my actual. Here, I'm gonna.
When combat starts, roll 20 fails me.
Talos rolled a 13 for initiative. Also, since Sarah is not here, let me be the one to remind you. Please don't roll in roll 20.
Yeah, you already see.
Please.
Like, I had to roll my initiative because it had to be on screen.
Fair, but legit, please don't.
Are you saying that Roll20 actively works against poor robotic?
Yeah.
No, I'm not at all.
From what I am seeing.
Stories are no.
And what is Rousseau's actual role?
Oh, I put it in, so we're good.
Oh, you did. Okay, all good. So we will put that in descending order. I will change from whatever Babylon is to this button. There we go.
Babylon.
And apparently they were ready for trouble, because as that minigun rips through the top of this train, they all just start charging straight towards you. And the one that was talking has exactly enough to run right up in your face, and he takes this massive wrench and knocks aside the barrel of your minigun and goes, you think you're clever. Three more trickle in around behind, and it is Rousseau's turn.
All right, we're in it, so I'm gonna fire a 13 plus 4 to hit, 17.
17 will definitely hit.
Also, I'm still going off my old sheet, but I hope it works. We will fix it. I'm new to this team. And then a 3 plus 2, 3d10, or 1d10. So a 3 plus 2 damage, so 5 damage.
5 damage.
Crap roll. Yep.
Okay. Shooting the one that ran up on your good friend Uran?
Yep.
All right. Do you take a shot at kind of nicks his shoulder, and he seems not particularly concerned by it. Doc
Yep.
Martin.
All right. The doctor is gonna try and he trusts Iran to deal with the one in front of him, or more anticipates he's going to, and he's gonna try and pull out his sniper rifle, long arm, and shoot at the one that's over here on the bottom corner.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
Okay. How's that?
A natural 1 isn't going to do it. You take a shot and it twing, ricochets off the floor. Trudy screams and dives into one of these beds on the side going, what are those things?
Dangerous.
It is Talos.
You're muted.
Talos is muted.
Right. Yeah, Talos would like to level his Matok staff at this one here and discharge his weapon.
Sounds like a plan.
Hey, does a 14 hit?
A 14 will hit. You level the Matok, it opens up, powers up, the bolt goes flying, hits this guy right in the arm. He spins, lands in the bunk next to him. He's not dead, but he is hurting quite bad. And both he and his friend both need dex saves to keep from falling down, and they do not fall prone in the shockwave of your weapon. But the one that you hit he is hurting.
6d6 and I only rolled a 16. I'm mad. I will step in front of... I'll step there.
Okay.
That's it.
Uran?
All right. I got to roll with disadvantage, right?
Yes.
All right. So that one's higher, so that one's lower. Plus 5. That is 14.
14 is enough to hit him.
All right. So just for the sake of damage, I'm going to roll that and roll 20.
Okay.
So that's a lot of dice.
I hope that's acceptable.
40
That seems
piercing.
acceptable.
So Uran is going to take his gun after he got parried, shove it in his chest, and as it whirls up, he's going to say, I may think I'm clever, but you know you're dead, and just let it go.
The barrels rev up, and his feet leave the ground for a moment before he collapses in a heap in front of you.
Nice.
The others kind of take just a couple steps back. Come on, boys, get him! I killed Jerry! And they are going to run in with wrenches in the... Oh, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Okay. They are going to run in... Oh, I knew I was going to do that. Run in with wrenches in the air. Trying to... That one gets close enough to you. That one gets close enough to Talos, who did some damage. So does he. The other ones follow along behind. First one just raises a wrench, trying to bash Uran with a wrench. Only rolls an 8, but that's probably because he is tending this burning Matok staff wound in his shoulder. So the wrench hits you, but it just doesn't feel like anything. The one next to him loosens this chain, wraps it around his fist a couple times, and tries to punch Talos for a natural 1.
No, thank you.
Terribly. And the last one with a lead pipe swings it at... Oh, I forgot they're adjacent to an ally. They all get advantage. I'll remember this time. A 13 to try and hit Russo with a pipe. Russo, do you get hit with a pipe
Not
at 13?
hit.
Yep. You parry it with your gun, and they all of a sudden, a lot of the fight is leaving their eyes at the moment. Rousseau, you're up.
Yeah. Okay, well, since they're so close, I'm just gonna switch to my sidearm
Mm-hmm.
and attempt to shoot this guy that's like right next to me.
Sounds good.
A 10 to hit.
A 10 will miss.
All right, I'm gonna surge though and just take another action.
Sounds good.
A 12 to hit.
A 12 will miss.
So a reminder, you did have a +2 in chat, but you also had a -2. I don't know if you want to use either of those at any point.
You know, just so I don't waste my surge, I'm gonna use my automatic success on this guy. Because I only get that once per long rest.
Your +2 is the 14, and a 14 has hit him.
Oh, well then I'll do that then.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Your first shot, he knocks it aside with the pipe. The bullet goes whistling into the air. He ducks and looks terrified at the noise. And your second one hits for how much damage?
5 again.
5 again.
Golly gee, I'm doing such a good job, y'all.
The bullet like grazes his cheek, but you can tell there's a lot of emotional damage that's happened, even if not a lot of physical.
Yeah. Get him where it hurts.
He'll have nightmares later, maybe.
That's it for my turn.
Doc Martin.
He'll have nightmares later of some woman flailing at him on a train.
Do I have any problems shooting anyone with walls or people in melee? Does that cause any problems for me?
Nope. The spacing is large enough in the grand scheme of things that no, does not.
All right. That said, I'm just gonna focus on one of the ones not in combat in the back.
Okay, sounds good.
Gonna focus this time and do his breaths. And hopefully it works. How about a crit?
A crit will definitely do it.
It didn't roll crit damage, but 25. Wait, does crit do double dice again? I forget.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Do you want me to roll damage again?
Only if you want to see how big the number gets. He's dead, Jim. But
51. Just to prove that
Dr. Jim,
better
not a
than the
necromancer.
chainsaw.
You take a moment, you take a breath, you take careful aim, and with a single bullet, passes straight through this guy's face, and he drops in a heap.
Like I said, dangerous.
And that is Talos' turn.
But I'm a ranged dude now. I can't be surrounded.
Was that an ability?
What?
Nothing.
No, yeah,
Sorry,
I
was
wish.
making a joke.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll take a step back, realizing I will probably provoke an attack of opportunity.
All right, sounds good. There is one of them that's going to swing at you. As I find the button, they try and punch you. They roll another natural. Now they get advantage because they are next to each other. 13. 13
No, thank
hit
you. No, thank you.
All right. Tries to punch at you as you leave and fails to.
Yeah, so I will take a shot at this home slice here, trying to split the uprights, so to speak. Does a 12 hit?
Nope, I'm sorry, it does not.
I will grimace in their direction.
All right, they are. So you did use a shockwave weapon, so it is going to cause them to make some dex saves. Let's see here. I lost my sheet again. That is 1, 2, 3. They all pass. And then robotic. It's Uran's
All right.
turn.
So I just want to make a quick argument. My chain gun is piercing damage. Could I argue that I could hit both of these in a line?
No, because your gun's already way too strong.
All right, fine. 13.
13 is exactly enough
Nice.
to hit him. That was with disadvantage, correct?
Yes, the other one was 19. So
Okay.
let's see. Roll beam footage. Boom. Oh look, now it wants to roll so well. Look at that. It's 56. So instead of shooting this one I'm just gonna clonk this one over the head with my chain gun over and over again. Just
Okay.
save bullets.
So as your bullets are streaming out the end of the chain gun, you are bashing him with it. He doesn't make it. We'll put it that way. And the remaining ones are not having it, and they turn to try and run for it. Rousseau, you have a attack of opportunity if you would like, and Talos will as well because his Matak is a melee weapon.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, go ahead and take a shot at him as he's running.
All right. Can I try and leg him?
Sure.
Okay. Never mind.
Okay. So we'll get Talos's roll when he gets back, but they go running to the side
Not
of the
using
screen.
this dice anymore.
Can I, just out of curiosity, can I use a grapple as an attack of opportunity?
I will allow it. It's unorthodox.
What was that
but-
noise?
Those Nazgul suddenly. Oh my god.
Jesus.
Sorry. It was excitement. It was like high-pitched excitement. So would that just be like a regular strength
Athletics.
attack?
Yep.
Yeah.
Athletics. It's a opposed roll against their athletics.
I will take my +2 from chat, 15.
They rolled a natural 20. And you reach to grab him, but his friends have just been torn apart by whatever it is that this monster is carrying.
Yeah.
And he runs forward as well. He's the only one that can't get out of the train car. He's like scrambling, trying to climb over anything he can to get out of here. It is Rousseau's turn. Now your P90, you can roll with advantage to do a single carefully aimed shot.
Okay. I'm gonna try and do that. I have switched dice though.
That seems like a good idea.
The other one is in jail. A 16 plus 4 to hit, so dirty 20 or a
Dirty
10.
20
So
hit?
I'll take the dirty 20. Yep.
Yep.
And then a 5. Damage.
How many
For
how
your
many
damage,
dice are you rolling?
I'm
Yeah.
rolling. It says 1d10 plus 2, and I rolled
Okay.
a 3.
Because you're level 5, you have attack specialist, so you always roll 2d10.
Okay. See, I'm working off the old sheet here, so
Nope, sorry about that.
okay.
thinking the
Well,
same thing, so I'm glad HV said it.
I got a 10 that time, so it would be 13 plus 2.
So 13 plus 2
15.
is 15. And this is the one you shot before with your pistol. Right? The 5, or
Yes.
did you do that from your... So why don't you roll another... well, no, it wasn't your pistol. It was your P90 that you
Well,
hit him.
originally I shot with P9, then I switched because he got up close to the sidearm, and now
Right.
I've switched back to my rifle, which I
And it
always
was
keep
your-
slung forward.
Oh, yeah,
so.
yeah. It's easy to switch between. So roll another damage die for your pistol because you are also attack specialist with your pistol.
Okay. 3 plus, yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he almost goes down as he is running for the door. Doc Martin.
Is the door open?
Yeah, the other two left the door open.
So I can see that guy, assuming I like, get in front of Talos. I can see the guy straight down the middle.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Yeah, gonna aim at him.
Okay.
You don't get to run. Oof. 11?
11 will miss.
Moving too much.
Talos.
I will level my Matok staff over.
I'm like crouched when I got in
Yeah,
front of him.
no, I will level
yeah,
it
yeah,
over Doc Martin, and will fire my staff.
Okay. Are you firing at the one that's in there or the two that are next to each other
Back
in
of my
between train cars
So
at the
they're
moment?
in between train cars, right?
Correct.
I will be firing at the one that I can see in between train cars.
Okay.
And praying that the one on the outside misses his dex save.
Okay.
8.
An 8 misses. I would like you to roll me a d20. And on an even number, it goes through the door, and on an odd, it hits the doorway.
I want our last instant success for this so bad. Even number.
Even. It goes through and hits them. So it blasts into the train just in between the two cars. Both of them have to make dex saves. A 6 is a failure, an 18 is a success. One of them goes flying off the side between the two. Ah! Zzz, zzz. You hear this crackle of electricity. Uran?
This guy's still here?
He's trying to run. It's not his turn yet. They're going to run more as soon as you do whatever you do.
All right. Well, I'll use a. I have proficiency on my combat knife. Would I still get that if I threw it?
I'm fine with that. You're definitely going to be at disadvantage for throwing the knife that far.
That's fine. Boom, 16.
16 will hit. 7 is enough. Your combat knife goes flying and sticks in the middle of his back. He drops to his knees and collapses.
Cool.
The last one keeps running further forward in the cars and slamming the door behind him. You lose him unless you plan on chasing.
Nope. Let him go. Maybe with the fear, we will have less death.
Trudy steps up out of the bunk that she dove into. What are all those?
Just further up weapons. You don't need to worry about it.
Do you guys have anything more dangerous than those wrenches and chains that we would need to worry about?
The closest I've ever seen to one of those is the guards up front have harpoon guns, but they don't shoot like those do.
Ron's gonna check the body of the leader.
Okay. There are a pack of cigarettes that are in a hand-folded carton, and all of them are hand-rolled. There is a flask that when you smell it, smells awful. More like paint thinner than anything else. And then there is a handful of, they're like steel coins, for lack of a better description.
Mm-hmm.
And they all say meal token with a 1 in the middle.
I'll leave everything but the meal tokens and pocket those.
Okay. So you have, let's see, you have 6 meal tokens.
Oh, cool. Good for a week. And we'll also say I recovered my knife at some point.
Yep.
I'm just looking at the group. What's the plan?
Well, I assume there might be some fear in them now, if that guy gets out there and spreads the word. Do we want to take the place by force, or do we want to try and reason with them?
There were
We
how
let
many-
people.
6,000 cars? I don't know that we want to... Sorry, what was that, Uran?
I'm about to say, whether they fight or not is up for them to decide. But we go till we find your bread basket.
So I have a point of order as a player. Did Russo communicate any information about the storm that they saw?
It's safe to say, unless someone's keeping a secret on purpose, that usually so.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have...
Well, Trudy
Tal-
told us about the storm too, right?
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay, so Talos would like to look outside, because the way that you had described it was that the storm was behind us.
Yes.
So I would like to look out and see if the storm is actively following us.
The train is very long. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I'm not good at this. Can we do culture? No, I'm kidding. 13.
13. You try and get a look out the window. The train has been on this slow curve for quite a while. You see cars all the way into the horizon. You see the net of electricity that extends out from underneath all these cars. And in the back, appearing to follow, is this massive boiling wall of black clouds full of blue and white and greenish tinged lightning.
All right, so I'm going to take what you said, appearing to follow, and that is going to
Yes.
motivate this. I wonder, is it more important to take over the 6,000 train cars or to find power to power the device? Because if so, it appears this storm is following us. Perhaps it is linked to the device, as we had posited before.
Does make sense. Trudy, do you know, does the last train go into the storm? The last car on the train? On the train!
No. I've never been to the far back, the tail cars, but there's usually a little distance between the last car and the storm. At least that's what they tell us. And if we don't work hard, then that's when the storm will catch the train.
Yeah.
So the storm is chasing the train, you say, Trudy?
Yeah, we've been trying to outrun it for a long time.
Since the train was started, would you say?
As long as I've been born. Before even. My mother. Grandmother.
Trudy, how old is the train?
I don't rightly know.
If you had to guess, and your life depended on it, with a slight but not clandestine glance at Uran.
Couple centuries? 4, 5, maybe?
It appears we have a direction to choose.
Think the front or the back?
Thousands of cars. Potential power.
Let's go.
Let's go for the power.
I mean, that's
Thinking
what we're
it's at
here
the back?
for.
I mean, it is a hunch that the device we're here for is tied to the power at the back of the train or the storm, but I don't actually know. This is confusing to me, and I've never seen anything like this.
You said the train had lost cars. Where did we lose cars from? The front or from the back? The middle?
From back. Well, there have been resistance to the right order of things. And the further ups, well, they tell us to cut off the infection, so we lost some cars over the years.
So the people that were speaking out were put in the back trains and sent off into the storm.
Yes.
Well, that means that the power's not coming from the back.
The whole train was running over an electricity wire. I wonder if the power source is in the front and charging it for what it rides on all the way back, and that's what's attracting the storm.
Would follow.
The-
It is
how-
odd. It is odd that the storm is maintaining an equidistance behind the train, though. To me, at least.
Doc,
Yeah.
I've seen you fiddling. Do you think there's any way we might find some sort of electric panel? Try and figure out where any hubs or like I would assume that every so often, with a train this large, there's got to be some sort of
Conduit?
or like an engine room or a utility room or something to pass down.
Trudy, what exactly do you wrench?
What exactly is it that you do here?
Well, as a union wrencher, we keep things together, build the beds, repair the damage. I still don't know what we're going to do about the storage car back there.
Anything for, like, power sources? Is that a different union?
I mean, in general, we keep the lights on,
And remember, this is a test.
power flowing. Everything's built to flow from the front. This where the engine is. Where else would it come from?
Makes sense. One more thing. So we're just gonna go back and do our voting, right? What does that do exactly? Having a train conductor. What kind of power do they have? Do they get to be in the front?
The president oversees everything. They make sure that we stay on course. They make the decisions. It's the president of the Ishkur Line that keeps us safe. And
You're
it is
passing
the
flying colors.
it's the relationship between the union work and the union bosses and the president that when it's time for the president to retire, a union boss is usually chosen to succeed them.
Usually. What do you
But
guys
we wouldn't question the president's decision.
It sounds like the person who could tell us what we are looking for will be at this meeting.
Probably.
And
So-
I'll
I think we have two options. An option where we give them the choice of least resistance, and an option where we take what is our choice of least resistance.
again, we will let them choose. And as he hefts up his chain gun, he'll be like, it won't matter. And shall we go?
Yeah, we get to that meeting. Someone should be there that we can talk to.
Of course. Let's up a bit further. And Trudy continues to lead you closer to the front of the train. The trip up is, again, it's met by the same kinds of ratty, held together cars that you've seen. Handfuls of people here and there. Every once in a while, a kid runs by. This is not a tightly packed train. It's more sparsely populated. People are spread out. If you were to guess, it might be that more or less one family a car, essentially, is probably the entirety of the density that you're running into overall. You make your way past curious onlookers, people that ask questions, and it takes a couple hours of walking at a walking pace to make it up to what you would guess is the front 300 cars or so. A second, I want to do some quick math.
Well, that's lucky. We're at the front end of the thousands of cars. Yay us!
So you are that. It takes about 5 hours of walking.
Not bad.
She said, "Yeah, we're close to the front. The further ups, they live in the first 100 cars, and then there's the support cars, 100 cars behind. I hear the performance reviews are also going to happen, so maybe I'll get promoted. It'll be a good time."
Sure, Trudy, for sure.
We'll make sure of it, Trudy.
Putting in
You're doing a good job.
Good, solid word for you.
I think you have management written all over you. I see the potential. It's there.
Thank you.
Especially
Thank
since
you.
her old manager's dead now.
Yeah,
Oh no, he
probably.
was a freelancer.
Well, there's
He
always
wasn't
a
in the
lot of room
union.
in freelance, so
Oh, the freelancers rely on the lottery to get to the further ups. I prefer
Trudy,
to.
don't worry about that one.
Would you
Make it by
consider
merit.
leaving the union, or do you feel like you're union through and through?
No, the union they help negotiate our food bars and the fungus fingers.
What if there's a better way besides union?
You're sounding like a freelancer, and that's all chance and luck. They can never make it to the top.
What if, and hear me out, Trudy, the workers were to unite?
That's what. What?
Against the higher ups.
But what? We get what we need.
Do you?
Yeah, just last year, the cost of food bars went down.
What if you didn't have to pay for food bars? What if food was just available?
I think you should talk to the union bosses. I'm getting uncomfortable. As she's been moving you forward, the sparse population has picked up a little bit. There are more people about. You're going through cars of 10 or 20 people. As you get closer to the front, it becomes very difficult to even move through the cars to a certain degree. The doors between cars open up, and speakers kind of crackle to life. It says, "Faithful Union of the Ishkur Line. It very nears the 50-year anniversary of Joseph Ishkur, our president, our leader, our benevolent guide. His retirement is at hand, and we, the union heads, are excited to see what a new generation of leadership will bring." And like everyone's just, yeah, there's cheers, people are excited. "We have opened negotiations with the further ups, and we believe we can get everyone 3 additional fungus fingers every week." Everyone's like, yeah! A lot of noise, a lot of talking. Trudy's like, that's good. Fungus fingers are hard to get.
I bet they're delicious.
Trudy starts elbowing her way through. "Seriously, I've got some further ups here." People kind of part just a little bit. You're able to make it to a train car that's a little bit better furnished than some of the others, but still not. This is still a well-worn train. You look up, and there are sitting at along the sides, slightly elevated of this train car, a group of 5 individuals. They represent a decent slice of life, leaning a bit heavier toward the older side of middle-aged. One is in their late 20s. The others seem to be the other direction. The one in their 20s, she has quite a real fire in her eyes. The others, mostly 50s or so, but there's one in particular that is very old. He must be 60, 70 years old. Looks across the room. There is the crackle of the speaker again, and a different voice comes across the speaker. "Workers of the Ishkur Line, I am Joseph Ishkur, and it is time for my retirement." And with that, we're going to take a brief 15-minute break to see what happens with the union head, to see what your plan is during this meeting and celebration, and to see if let's just say see what develops. Hello and welcome back. Thank you for hanging out as we take care of some odds and ends at the break at 11. We left off with an announcement over the speakers from the president of the Ishkur Line, Joseph Ishkur, and the union heads preparing for their annual meeting, which Basilisk has crashed, escorted there by Trudy, a union member that they met when they got on the train. I think that brings everyone up to speed. The voice across the speaker continues its little speech. As many of you know, I have led the Ishkur Line these last 50 years, keeping us ahead of the storm, and that is thanks to all of the hard workers and freelancers of the union and freelancing guilds throughout the train. This is thanks to all of you. The doors beyond the union heads open, and attendants come in with trays and start handing out there are these small finger-sized pale white mushrooms sitting alongside a number of blocks, cubes that are about 2 inches by 2 inches, mostly gelatinous, and they start passing them around. Please, our gifts on this wonderful celebration of a day. Everyone's like, yay! And they're like grabbing these things off the trays as they come by. And
Am I guessing these are the fungus fingers?
Trudy's like, yeah, the white ones are the fungus fingers. They're very good.
Okay, I don't know what I need to roll for this, but I'm getting some drink the Kool-Aid vibes, and whoever survives is the new person.
Okay.
Is there a roll I can make to like suss that out?
You want to insight check the hors d'oeuvres?
I mean, yeah, kind of.
I mean, that's
like,
probably...
can I like insight check the people who are passing it around, who are like, because they would know that this, like, some of these are lethal, right?
I mean, the way you describe it, I suppose they would.
Oh, I don't like this. Oh, okay, fine. Here's your insight check. You deal with it as you would like. 21.
Okay, 21. You look upon these attendants with suspicion. You look at the results of the excited people grabbing the fungus fingers and the food bars. They are mowing them down, but there's also this kind of, no one is taking like a handful. They're taking like one of each. I mean, it's chaos. They're crazy. People are grabbing, but they're not. There is this we're all in it together element that you're definitely picking up. As far as the attendants, they seem to just kind of be, going through the motions of serving. You don't have any suspicion that pops up?
If the tray comes along, I will take one, but I will not eat it.
Okay. You can grab a fungus finger or a jello cube, basically.
Which one looks more appealing to Talos?
Trudy likes the fungus fingers.
That's not what I asked. I will take a fungus finger.
You tell me. You tell us.
Fair. I'll take a fungus finger.
You have a fungus finger. If anybody wants anything, go ahead and grab one. If not, that's fine. The attendants work their way through. They keep going toward the back of the train. More and more of these attendants come through. There's a sense of celebration in the air. The voice over the speakers continues. We thank you for all of your hard work. And at the end of your annual meeting, I would ask the 5 union heads to make their way to the front of the train for the choosing of a successor. And there's cheering, and all the attendants make their way through, and the union heads kind of settle, and one stands up and raises a hand, the older gentleman of the group. He goes, "Hey, want to thank Joseph Ishkur and his good, kind leadership over all these years. I remember when Joseph served on this very committee. I was a young man in the crowd at the time, enjoying my own fungus fingers. It is so good to see the change of power being handed over. Now come, do any of the middle managers have business to bring to this meeting today?
Talos will step forward and say, I am a union leader. Where am I to go?
What? I don't recognize you at all.
I am a leader of the Union of Personal Assistants to Joseph. You would not know me.
I
From
think
the
you
Sixth Union.
are a bit confused. You're a stranger to me.
By design. And I would like to start walking forward.
Okay. You start walking through. There's like this murmur through the crowd. Young man, you need to stop.
The young man does not stop.
Can I grab the older guy and say he's getting senile in his old age?
As soon as you put hands on the union boss, there is this rustling through the crowd and this murmur starts going. What is he? Get your hand off me. The 20-something union boss who's there, she reaches out and grabs your hand and pulls it off. Says, "What do you think you're doing? Who are all of you?"
Uran will grab her and say, "We are from the very front." And I'm gonna use my instant success on an intimidation to say it with authority to the whole room.
Your instant success, granted by a good table. You growl out those words as she just freezes and lets go of you. What are you doing here? You can't.
But we can.
Are you just walking by him and going to the front? What is the...
Russo let everyone know that she's just backing up their plays, so I am just like standing to see what they're doing, but I assume that we're just gonna go forward and try and take this thing over. Right? That's the plan? Yeah.
That's 100% the plan.
Completely floored by what has taken place, but ultimately utterly confused. The union bosses kind of step away as the doors in between open, allowing you passage toward the front of the train.
Where we rightfully belong. I will go forward.
I'll follow.
This is most unusual. We settle down. You can hear as the union bosses, there's this just outrage that ripples through. You can just catch the union bosses trying to get attention and order again as the doors between the tail cars and the further ups close. And you find yourselves a few hundred cars away from the engine, working through the support cars toward the further ups.
Are the other union bosses moving with us yet, or are they like stuck?
They're trying to get order right now, and they still have business to take care of.
Okay. They're still in the ceremony, and we're just rushing that.
The ceremony does not apply to us. We are too important.
Exactly.
I say
I cannot believe that worked.
I say we double time it, guys.
Yep.
Talos agrees. Let's go.
What is Judy doing?
Judy stayed behind. She's not following you.
Oh, we
Crazy?
lost Judy.
Oh
Sad.
man.
Trudy.
Listen.
Sorry, I said Judy. Trudy.
Yeah, I knew you.
It's
Judy.
Trudy's party. She can stay
She's
if she wants
Judy
to.
now.
She was a great side character. I thought she's gonna be a hero a bit longer.
I did too.
Oh well.
There's still time for a callback.
Yep.
Where you go, she cannot follow.
Well, the team is gonna just push ahead until you stop us.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
I've lost us on the. Okay, there we are.
Yeah.
Help! I'm somewhere I don't know where I am.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've made the play that we are supposed to be at the front of the train at this point, and we're gonna keep pushing in that direction.
Absolutely. You continue trying, basically just working your way through. The next 100 cars or so of the train are a step up in cleanliness and quality from where you just were by a significant degree. You start taking a look at what's going on and what's happening in these various rooms. The first set of rooms you go in, there is definitely some food processing going on. After passing through a couple buffer cars, you walk into a train car, and there is the smell of feces in the air. And as you look to the left and right, lining the walls, there are these pale white fingers of fungus growing up out of trays that are built into the walls. Definitely some some agriculture going on. You pass through another car. It's a hydroponics car. There are tanks of fish lining the floor. There are plants growing over the top of them. Very confused, clean-looking individuals tending to all the plants and the fish. One of them puts a hand up. Excuse me, what are you doing up here? Who are you?
GM, bold of you to assume we stopped.
You can't just... The door closes as you keep going. You pass through some servant cars. There's a handful of galley cars. A young man kind of just pauses and watches. You go through a school. There's a dozen children in mid-pledge. As soon as the door opens, they all turn around to look at you, but they don't stop their pledge. I pledge myself to the Ishkur Line. For our safety it defends. One train, our cars in line, for the betterment of all. Every passenger in their place, my pledge to the Ishkur Line. The teacher at the front just continued leading the pledge as you force your way through. You get to some dining cars, or not some dining cars, some sleeping cars. There are walls built up in between them, and I would like to know everyone's passive perception.
Oh yeah, there's a 13 for Talos. It's solid.
My passive perception is blank because I'm bad at doing character sheets. What is it total?
Your wisdom mod plus your proficiency plus 10. Plus your, only if you're
Oh, wait.
trained.
Hang on, I might have different.
11.
11
Oh no, it's
You
13.
said wisdom modifier plus my proficiency bonus?
plus 10.
Plus, all right, 13.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. Why is my
If you're-
perception?
If you're proficient in perception.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's the part I was forgetting. Yep, sorry.
Oh, I am
Definitely
proficient,
a GM, I
so-
promise.
Huh?
Wait, do I add my perception if I'm proficient?
If you're proficient, then it's your proficiency is added to your wisdom mod. If you're not
Oh.
proficient, it's just your wisdom mod.
Then 19. I have 6 perception, and then my
Oh,
proficiency bonus is
just-
3.
Just add
Yeah.
the perception to 10.
It's just 10
So
plus
you're
perception,
16.
really.
Oh, okay, so 16.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
16 is enough. As you pass into the cars, you catch just around the corner as these walls of the sleeping car break up the train. You see a shining shoe sticking out the side and just kind of like the head of a cane. And it suddenly, both of them just pull back behind that wall halfway through the train. I will put someone there just so you know. you know that there is someone right up around this corner.
Uran will take point. He will signal the others with hand signs. Do we have hand signs, guys?
We do now.
I like the idea that you
Yes.
actually say, "Do we have hand signs?"
Lacking pre-established hand signs, yes, you have. You can say, "Do we have hand signs?"
I whispered that. I didn't say it out loud.
That's fine.
Sure. What do you want the hand signs to be, Uran?
We'll
Like a dot, like a circle.
figure those out when we get back.
I feel like we figured out our next downtime activity.
It's called team bonding.
I'm gonna take point. Chain gun at the ready.
Okay.
I clearly have established I'm leading this group, so I'll be next to.
Never mind.
No. Like, I definitely would have you leading with a chain gun.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like I was saying I'd be right behind her, like right next to you.
All right.
I'll take up the rear.
Yeah, I'll pick up the middle rear. Out of curiosity, would I have been able to take any readings to see if there's any more power coming out, or if I look when we cross through between the cars, does it look like there's more lightning underneath than before, or the same amount? So we've traveled approximately 5,000 cars, I guess, give or take.
So you're not positive where the Stargate was in the train. You know that when you looked behind, as far as you could see, there were cars. So it's hard to be certain exactly how many you went through. As you did, that net of electricity underneath you has grown significantly. And where you were, it was about 75 feet out probably from the train. Now it's probably 150, 200 feet. This net reaches out of electricity, just crisping and burning anything close to the side of the train.
Oh, weird question.
Yep.
Did a 12 perception get that? And does this count as a failed check if it did not?
You can't fail a passive perception.
Fair. Just curious if I get a eureka for that or not. I'm trying to squeak out everything I can.
That's fine. Yep, it's fine. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. So Uran, you have full control of your token, or you're just walking up there with a gun at the ready?
Yep. Got that pose. Just ready to point it. I'll turn the corner and look.
Uran is my escort.
As soon as you turn the corner, this cane falls to try and hit you. You aren't surprised by it, but it is prepped and ready. And does a 15 hit you?
Barely, yes.
You take 7 bludgeoning damage as you see this pretty well-dressed guy. Get back to your end of the train! You don't belong with us! As his cane falls and hits you. Probably on a roll initiative, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, this can't be like a diplomatic encounter. This is Stargate. Come on.
I mean, at this point, you can always talk.
Days like this, I wish I took martial arts just so I could punch you in the face.
Mama told me there'd be days like this, there'd be days like this.
Oh,
Mama
yeah.
said-
Yeah, that's good. The guy pretending to be the leader rolled a 1, fam. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, he just swung, so.
Sure. I still get to go last.
Be closer. No.
Did you guys keep up with me, or did you stay back there?
I would have been with you.
I'm still in the back, yeah.
I'll just be
So-
standing there like,
I'm
no,
coming.
stop.
It's a
Wait.
little wonky. There's enough room for 2 of you to stand squeezed against each other between the wall of the train and the wall of that room. So I guess, yeah, you start making your way up. This cane drops, and Rousseau, you get to act first.
Yeah, even though I'm all the way in the back. Okay, I mean, I'm gonna
Your danger
move
sense
5,
tingled.
10. All right, so I guess I'm right here. I'm
Okay.
probably not gonna be dashing past. I'm just gonna move up so that I can be in the action. And my bullets don't actually go around corners, so I'm just gonna come up and have their backs.
This is an Overwatch action, right?
So Overwatch is a full turn.
Oh,
You can't move or anything. So Overwatch is a full turn where you stand still, you point in a cover I think it's a 45-degree cone, and anything that enters that cone that's a baddie you can shoot at with advantage. In close combat, it is very tough to use effectively. When things are far away, it works quite well. Uran, you just got slapped by a cane, and there is a pretty, well-dressed fella with what looks like a pistol in one hand and a cane in the other.
All right. So since he has a gun, I'm gonna roll. Less disadvantage, right? Fail.
Okay. You open up, your chain gun starts spinning as an entire stream of bullets go past this this individual. He looks at you, his eyes get wide, and he dives to the side. Anything else?
I'm going to. Can I send Ron to go get his gun?
As an action.
Phooey. Nope. I'm good. I'm just gonna probably step up to give him a better line of sight.
Sure. Doc Martin.
Right. I assume I can't see him from there, so
Correct.
kind of follow up. Can I see him from there?
You
I
can.
assume. Yeah, so he'll kind of move up. Bold of you to assume we don't belong here. We'll see how that treats you. And he's gonna pull out the rifle and take a shot. Is it 15 hit
15 will hit. Yes.
for 27 damage.
20. You catch him in the chest, and he jerks backwards. Barely comes around, grasps the side of his chest. You can hear this like wheezing. His eyes get massive. It's even bigger than just barely being missed by a minigun.
Do you want another? Or would you like to let us pass? That's all I'll say.
My
I don't think that
initiative
counts
for them
as an imitation, but
my initiative for them disappeared. They will go next. That's weird.
I'm a fan of the name. Big fan of the name.
Further
Well,
ambusher.
You know, you have to keep your monsters sorted.
I understand 1,000%. Believe me, I'm actually a fan of the name.
Dude, if you were to capture him and ask him your name, do you think I would have that written down somewhere?
You'd have a table you would use, or you would be Johnny
that's
on the spot.
bold of you to assume.
Fair.
Way to take us out the immersion.
I'm sorry. Sorry. My
He
bad.
will pull this what appears to be a actual gun. It's very ornate, it's very pretty, it's kind of flared at the end a little bit, and shaking in a very pronounced manner, he will try and shoot back at Doc Martin, and there is this flash as the hammer falls and some kind of powder is ignited, and there is a bang, and does a 9 misses as Doc Martin, a 50 caliber sized ball, breaks through the train next to your head. This is our train. Get back to work.
not anymore.
This one will turn the corner, level a shot much more calmly because he didn't see quite as much as what went on. He takes one look at his friend bleeding, or not, stands here, not there, and tries to shoot Uran. 12 to hit, misses Uran, I believe, by 1.
No, by like 3.
Oh, okay. This one makes their way up, and this one as well. Who are they? What are they doing up here? I told you the union bosses were coming, but these aren't the union bosses. Send them back. Go ahead, Talos.
I suppose the time for diplomacy is over. I would like to level my Matok staff at them and see if they have a reaction before I fire. Like, do they recognize what I'm pointing at them?
They have no more reaction than anyone who would have. I mean, when that opens, it makes a clicking sound.
Sure,
Sparks come from it.
Sure.
That's the extent of
wonderful.
Extent of what you can tell.
This seems like the one to fire at. Let's do that. The one in the middle of the three.
Okay.
Pew pew. 16.
16 will hit. 21 will take a significant chunk of that ambusher's resolve away. As all three of them try not to fall down and all roll 20 or higher.
I will use my movement, which is 1, 2, 3. Or actually, no. 1, 2 gets me to there.
Okay.
And as I'm passing, I will say, you have overstepped your class. And continue walking to 3.
Okay. So 2 of them are going to try and club you with canes on the way by.
I'd love for them to try.
A 21.
Yes.
For 3 damage. And a 17 for 6 damage.
Yes. I am no longer inspired.
It's a very nice cane that hits you in the side of the face.
Thanks.
Kind of a carved stone at the end.
Do I recognize it? Does my symbiote recognize it?
That's a good question. I'll deal with that while Russo takes their turn.
Okay, fair
That
enough.
silver lining on you get hit with a cane. It's a nice cane, though.
Well, listen, he said nice. That means it's got to be important. So I want to know if I recognize it.
You bonk yourself in the head with all your research?
Yes.
Russo, you're up.
Just I mean, I feel like I'm just like, pardon me, excuse me. Just, Doc, you mind if I'm just gonna like, just as I'm walking by, like, mind if I get by? Okay. Alright. Uran, mind if I, wait, what is Uran using to fight? Are you using the minigun here?
At the moment, yes.
It's
No,
either there or not.
I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna get that guy. Oh, hold on.
Yes, finish off the old man with your 5 points of damage.
That seems like a pointed comment.
What is
What?
so 4 plus 4 to hit? So an 8?
That will be insufficient to hit the ambusher.
I just wanted to cozy up and get close, you guys. That's my turn.
Okay. I'm forgetting all sorts of abilities I gave them so they wouldn't just die. Go ahead, Uran.
13.
13 is exactly enough to hit.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the old man. I'm finishing off the old man who bonked me.
Okay.
I legit take that personally. So he's dead now. But if you want numbers, let's go at 43.
So yeah, you start laying in to this ambusher, and he is blown through the door of this sleeping car and just lands in a heap inside of it.
That's all I got.
Okay.
I'll step here.
Doc Martin.
I think Doc Martin is going to try something different. Going to try and go with a diplomacy around in here. We have bigger guns. You want what just happened to your friend to happen to you? This is going to be a slaughter. Lay down your
Okay.
arms and let us through. This is our train.
Go ahead and give me a intimidation with advantage.
I'm gonna use an auto success on this one.
Okay. That works. They back off, drop their canes. Look, we know our place.
Good. It's
And-
behind us.
Uran wants all their guns.
You can have 4 dueling pistols.
Meat.
Write it down because I'm not going to remember. They back off and let you pass, and you're able to continue the rest of the way up toward the front of the train. You pass through some bath cars, some dining cars, a few other odds and ends, and before long, you find yourself in a empty train car, at most 2 cars from the engine in front. The roar of the lightning and the electricity is beating through your ears. You can hear the thunder, you can hear the crackle. All of it just fills this space. You glance out the window and the net of electricity extends probably 300 feet from the train itself, just scorching the land beneath it. At the end of what is a empty car decorated with happy retirement level decorations and a small contingent, really just a pair of guards that are well dressed, armored, in helmets, and a probably mid-60s man in a very fine cut suit stands and looks at you all as you enter the other side. He squints. None of you are in the Union. You're not the Union heads. Who are you?
We're clearly here, thus we must belong here. Who are you?
I am Joseph Ishkur. I am the president of the train here. What are you doing on my train?
Looking for a bread box. No? I'm looking around. No?
No, good job. You remembered. Yeah, we're looking for a bread basket. That's totally what we're doing.
Oh. Well, my
Good
mistake.
job, Uran.
Basket.
A bread.
Quite a fascinating train you have.
He
What?
absolutely freezes, staring at the 4 of you.
Haven't seen one like it before. How much do you know about how it works?
I am president of the train. I know how
But
all
that's
of
an
it
inherited title.
works.
You didn't make it.
I was trained by the president before me, and I will train the president who follows.
You didn't make it either.
I suppose not.
Where's the power for this train come from?
Joseph kind of freezes, staring at you and squints. The engines.
In the front.
The guards next to him kind of shift and look. President Ishkur, do you want us to? Yes, just 2 cars behind me through my quarters.
Would you like to show us?
He
Perhaps without your friends.
looks at the group of you. Yes?
Good.
Ishkar, what happens if we remove the power?
I assume it turned off.
The train will eventually stop.
Not immediately, though.
No.
Lead on.
He turns and passes through the cars in between. The guards try and follow, and he goes, "Shh, no. Wait here." But, President, shut up and do as you're told. Like a good servant. And, he will lead you to the very front of the train. Which you should be able to pass through just fine. You pass through a very fine quarters, well decorated, plenty of wonderful places to sit, a very nice rug on the ground. He opens the door, and the cockpit, for I don't know what a train's engine room is called. The engine itself is small where the controls are. But there is the roar and crackle of the engine that you're standing in. From here. What do you want?
The
A
power
lot of
that's
things.
driving the train.
Put that. Did your previous present tell you about a ring made of stone?
Hey,
Large ring.
it
I
was
don't know.
lost
size one of
centuries
your
ago.
friends. It's in the back.
You have got to be kidding me.
He's not.
There is palpable exasperation that washes out of the president.
Do you happen to have any of the crystals for it? There's a thing
What?
called a DHD.
DHD. I've never heard of such a thing. What would you know about crystals?
A lot. A lot.
It's integrated into the train, and he will remove a panel on the side. And you've been inside plenty of DHDs. You recognize a number of the crystals that are used for a DHD have been repurposed and tied to a rather large box-like structure that is in the center that is just pulsing, rippling energy through it.
Uran's gonna try and yank
Interesting.
that out.
You can't just reach out and grab a live, high-powered.
You got the
I mean,
boots.
that's the thing. At least
Got
you
my
have
boots.
resistance. So 17 electric damage, but it's halved because of the insulated boots you have on.
I wouldn't have
Okay.
recommended that earlier on, but it is the end goal.
That was the core that you yanked out, or just the crystal?
It's just one
He
of
grabbed the
those.
core.
Oh, is that the core?
It didn't pull it out. He just shocked himself on it by grabbing it.
Oh, I didn't pull it out?
No.
Why not?
It's full of electricity. But do you want to grab it again?
It sounds like you're just gonna keep shocking.
You touch it and find out.
He's caught on.
Why didn't we find rubber gloves?
Can I do some sort of check to see how this thing's functioning? Assuming that is the. Now that you've kind of said that in fact is the power source for powering the train.
Science or engineering, either are acceptable.
Sure.
I regret nothing.
17.
17. You're able to you flip a few switches, turn a few dials, and you're able to kill the power to that's coming off of that. And instead of filling with power and coursing it through, it goes quiet. The engine is still roaring, but that box isn't.
Mr. President,
Yes, of course. I'm sorry, what?
what do you know about the ring, about the gate?
The Shapa Eye
The Chapa Eye. Yes.
is a pathway between worlds.
Do you have any pathways you'd like to share? Perhaps something written down and passed down from president to president.
Yeah. What address?
How many do you have?
Glances at all of you gathered here, eyes kind of falling one at a time. Several.
Do you have any that you would like to get your people out to? If you could get it to work.
We're perfectly fine here. Thank you.
Cool.
Ron's holding the box and saying, that may not last much longer. I suggest you run while you can.
He has a number of addresses that could be helpful to us. I would like him to come with us.
Do you have them written down? Or are they all...
I would like him to come with us.
I think that's a good idea as well, but...
I will come with you.
He will make the rocky walk back much safer.
This is true.
You still haven't named the next president.
No, but without...
We'll take care of that on the way back.
Okay.
They don't need to know what you know.
Of course.
All right. Are we able to grab the crystal now? It's all depowered. Take what we need.
So the bread box that you need, Uran, being a large Unos, is able to carry on his own. It's a little awkward, but he can carry it just fine. There's various crystals, control crystals for, what would be for the DHD, but the DHD itself has been taken apart, scattered. No way to put back together.
That's fine. I'll have to dial manually. But the power source is there.
You do have a power source.
While they are stripping all that out, I'm going to look at the president and tell him, when we walk into the room with the union, you will see young girl. Make her president. Okay?
We'll point her out.
Okay.
Then say nothing. Keep walking.
We'll do the talking from there.
Of course.
You ready to head
Anything
back?
before the walk back?
I feel like we want to go faster than a walk pace there, my dude.
We do.
You're not
but-
the one carrying the big bread box.
So at the moment, the train is. You have not noticed a change in the momentum of the train yet. There is still power coursing through it. The web of electricity that stretched out 300 feet is starting to pull back. You probably have some time, but not a huge amount.
Let's go as quickly as we can. No stopping. Anyone gets in the way, we all know what to do.
Agreed.
It's going that bad.
Did we want
This
to
way.
ask this guy if the storm had anything to do with the power?
I mean, out of character, do we want to waste the time here
I
since
don't
we're
think it
taking him with
matters.
us?
We're taking them
Alright,
with us.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, like if
We're
it
just
did,
going.
then we're fucked anyway. So, sorry.
Very interesting information.
Above
on.
table, I just want to say, how about this as a plan? He's our hostage to get us through. We take him back as intel, and we tell little girl, look, here's some coordinates. Get as many people through as you can before the train stops.
Okay. Can I also make an above the table statement and say we're Basilisk? Why do we care?
I mean, we're bad guys. We're not monsters.
Bad guy.
Here's
doesn't
what I
mean
was
you're
gonna
a
say.
Bad guy.
Above the table, here's what I was gonna say. We tell Judy about
Trudy.
Trudy. God dang it, Trudy about that if anyone comes through the gate with either ask if they are Gould or Stargate, and if they say yes to either, you shoot as many of whatever you got at them.
Yeah, like they're gonna trust us who took the last president hostage.
We're gonna make her president, and she's gonna trust us. This is part of being president. This is what you need to know. Okay, the president's retiring. He's going to his retire carriageman in the back. You don't remember it. You weren't old enough.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Whatever. All right.
Okay.
But I don't think this train's gonna last much longer.
Right.
Yeah, also above table. You're
I-
welcome, Phoenix.
As we are walking back, though, walking at a very brisk pace, since we're in these upper, forward, whatever, anything shiny, I am taking and sticking in my backpack.
Okay. Now,
Tell
when you
us
say
this, please.
shiny, are you talking about
Tech. Or
Tech?
crystal type of anything that looks like tech. I don't care about gold and all, like just anything that looks like it may have any
Scientific
sort of
value.
tech or like weird crystally tech, you know? Not necessarily wires, but anything that looks like it may be.
your best bet for good tech would be in the engine room? So I'm fine with you having, snagged a
around.
bunch of the control
Okay.
crystals and those sorts of things out of the
Absolutely,
engine room.
yes, thank you.
So you have, let's pick a number. You have 5 control crystals from a DHD that you're able to pull out quite quickly without having to otherwise crawl deeper into the engine or anything else of danger.
Cool. Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else before the trip back? With a hostage?
Brisk walk.
Yep.
Well, I would say now. Hang on. I don't think we want to openly have him as a hostage. I think this is you lead us on as the leader to identify that we are okay. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Can I make a side-by-side conversation with him? Technically, I have a feature I've never used, but
Okay.
I get advantage with someone who's also in the technological side of diplomacy or whatever.
Okay.
And I think also as a human, if I'm the first person to make contact with them, I also get advantage for that. I don't know if I need to make a check or anything, but just the idea of that feat to be I'm going to tell him about some technology, and maybe wow him so that he's like, yes, this is worthwhile for me to come through because I'm going to see some cool shit, even though it's just going to be a sewer, but we're not going to tell him that part.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you kind of try and have that side conversation with him, but he seems very distracted. Gives a lot of kind of half listening type answers to you the entire trip.
Oh, sketch one. And I don't know why. What's my vibe say? What's up with this dude? Vibe check him.
Roll an insight check.
Okay. Oh, that's terrible. Okay. Why was he so... 3. He was so sus with the guards, too, right at the beginning, being like shh, shh. And,
Yeah.
but I rolled a 3, man. I'm just following you guys.
He is cowed and leading the way. That's the vibe you're getting.
Yeah.
You make it through the further ups to the union meeting. It's really, I mean, a couple hundred cars doesn't take too long to travel through. The meeting's probably getting ready to wrap up as a group of you pass through. As the door opens and Joseph Ishkur himself walks through, you get the impression none of the kind of regular folks there recognize him, but then the old man is like, this is President Ishkur! And everyone just turns to look and, what's he doing in the tail guards? He came all the way from the, I told you he was a great leader. And there's like this general, the old man puts his hands out, quiet. President, we're so honored to greet you, to host you. Oh.
Can I point out Trudy and point to her and like do the like come here?
Trudy sees
I
and
can see her.
she looks past her, like over her own shoulder. Makes her way up and stands next to you.
Here you go, Mr. President. This is the next one.
The old man and the other union bosses go, what?
The test passed. Trudy,
What is going on here?
you've got the golden ticket.
The president looks at her and looks at you and crinkles his brow. She's to be the next president?
That's correct.
Yep. Fast talking on there.
He turns and looks at the union bosses. Looks at her. What's your name? Trudy? Attention, Ishkur Line. The time for my retirement has come, and as is tradition, I shall pass the mantle of president on to my successor, and that successor is Trudy. And there's like some scattered applause and some murmuring. The union bosses are, what do you mean? Just utter confusion across the board. This is highly irregular. But the president has spoken, and so, Trudy, you shall lead this train. What? I don't know what I'm supposed to.
Don't
Joseph's
worry.
like,
We'll catch you up on the short trip to his retirement office.
Trudy, come with us. I will tell you what you need to know on the way. Everyone, continue the celebration. I'll have more fungus fingers brought back from the front. We have some business to attend. There's a lot of clapping on the back, a lot of cheers. More folks come in with fungus fingers on trays to offer around. And you start making your way back to where the Stargate is.
Making my way downtown.
It is a several hour walk again. And during that time, the speed of the train has become noticeably slower, but it still hasn't come to what would even be close to considered a stop. The net of electricity that you've kind of watched along the way has shrunk down noticeably, but not too over the top. You get through the initial press of all the people around and get to some of the more sparsely populated cars again. You had something you wanted to say to Trudy, I believe?
Yeah, I think as we're getting closer, I think probably as we're getting closer to the gate, I would probably mention it. Now, we're gonna leave through a big ring, that big ring that you saw with the hole. Don't worry about that. If anyone else comes through that ring, though, they're going to be dangerous. As president, you're going to want to have guards in here. Make sure anything comes through. Deal with it. It won't be safe. I guarantee you that.
Okay.
And the important thing, when your time comes to retire, you need to give all of this information to the next person.
I can do that. What else do I need to know to lead the train, though? I mean...
Trudy, there will be a short one that is very sarcastic and very snarky. Your guard should open fire on them as soon as they come through. They are quite dangerous.
Why don't you just tell her to push the ring off after we leave?
No, I would never do that. Because Gary is the traitor. And if the ring is off, Gary is not shot.
Oh.
Just a single bullet should do it. Just one. As long as it's aimed correctly.
We'll post guards. I still don't know really what you're doing here. Or where you're going.
It's all part of the selection process. Don't worry. People like us will come through again and take care of the next selection for you. You just need to make sure you're there and you're ready to give them the presidency next time.
Okay. Okay. Is that all that I need to know?
That's just about it. All right, let's see if we can't get this ring spinning.
Okay. You are able, without too much difficulty, given your skills, to connect the electro-atmospheric device to the Stargate. It begins glowing and pulling energy from the atmosphere itself, pumps it into the gate, giving it power. And all of you can start to manually dial your way out. It takes a little bit of time.
I have an ability that lets me speed up dialing the gates.
Okay.
Do you seriously?
I do.
Really
Yeah.
Come on!
I've never dialed the gate because Gary always did it, but I can speed it up by a couple of turns depending on how many Eureka points I have. So it's not going to make a big difference in the whole thing, but I'm just going to say I shortcut one of the chevrons by doing like a hit it while it's spinning type of thing.
All of you notice a significant increase in dial time compared to prior dial. You wouldn't in this case because it's all manual. You're able to lock in. The unstable vortex shoots out the side of the train. The wormhole settles. And with a little bit of fidgeting and working your way around, you're able to pass through back to the sewer itself. Joseph Ishkur comes with you. Uran pauses long enough to set a couple traps, which you just send to me what those are before Monday.
Okay.
And I will make sure that those are included. And as you pass through, there's this moment where the train shudders and the sound of thunder just pushes through the entire freight. Trudy looks up at you all and goes, I hope I'll be a good president. Thank you.
I know you will.
I would not have trusted it to anyone else.
You all pass through the gate. And that
Yes.
is where we will end our episode for this evening. Thank you for joining us as we have worked our way through the Ishkur Line with a thank you so much, Saito, right at the very end of the show. Appreciate that so very, very, very much. It means so much. we're just now closing, so copy the intro video clip. Oh, thank you. Yes, we will definitely get you. We'll get the intro to you. I love writing the intros. And if you missed the intros today, they were all based on Lewis Carroll's Jabberwock poem with a number of creative words of my own working through some of his as well. So thank you.
Shout out to Proper for the intro video.
Yeah,
For
seriously.
everything
Oh,
at the beginning.
Proper putting the intro video together is amazing.
Fantastic job.
Proper also put the overlay together. Everything is just absolutely gorgeous. Everything you see is beautiful, and thanks to his wizardry. We're going to stick around for just a couple more minutes, not very long at all, for any comments, questions, concerns, conundrums, or qualms you want to raise. Probably about 5 minutes at the most, and then we will shut off for the evening. Basilisk, thank you so much. That was a blast.
I'm so happy we got
outros.
to first.
Sorry, we have to do outros, even though I still want to have those open. We're gonna do outros so I don't forget. Otherwise, I will forget. So going around the board, Luca, tell us about yourself, where we can find you, all that sort of thing.
Hi, I'm Luke Locke, and tonight I played Lieutenant Colonel Karis Russo, and you can catch me all over the place when I am not doing graphic design and designing overlays and things of that nature for streaming channels. I am usually on TPK, sometimes on Nat 20. Tomorrow you can catch me running Dark Echoes, our Curse of Strahd campaign. And then immediately after that, I am running, I'm co-hosting Murder and Coffee with Sarah, and we are interviewing Harrison about producing sustainable campaigns. And then you can catch me back Sunday morning for the finale of Blood and Grit. And then Sunday evening, we are premiering our Lord of the Rings campaign, our miniseries, Shadow over Arnor. And then I am off for a week until the 29th when we're back for a very, very special episode of Sherlock Investigations. And that's it for me. So catch me everywhere here at TPK Roleplay this weekend. And then I will see you guys again on the 29th.
Proper. Or Purple.
Hi, I'm Purple Phil. I played Dr. Eric Martin. Yeah, the next time you'll see me will be in 2 weeks on the 29th. I don't have too much else going on, although there may be some announcements coming out. That might happen after that, though, so there are things in the works, but right now, the only thing you can find me in is this lovely show. So I will, with that, pass it off to... We'll do a zigzag, and we're going to go to... Are you good? No, we can go to same.
I'm here. I got it.
I'm
What's
just trying
up?
to help you out.
I appreciate it. I'm a full-time caregiver, and there's an alert thing that just went off, so I had to check in. Anyway, hi, I'm DMF Saint. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at DMF Saint, as well as here on TPK and a number of shows, and running things over at Nat20. You can find me coming up soon in a number of things. Every Sunday we do Morningstar and Company Incorporated. It is a post-Curse of Strahd homebrew campaign that I've been running for just over 2 years now. We're rounding around like the kind of 2/3 mark towards the actual finale of the whole campaign. Other things that I will kind of talk about, we are planning a prelude trilogy to a new Curse of Strahd campaign that's starting in the beginning of 2022 called Last Time Around. The Overture, as it's called, will start on, I think, December, I keep getting the dates wrong, December 4th, not 8th, 4th. Yeah, so December 4th, we will be doing that over on Nat20. And please catch me here 2 weeks from now on the next Basilisk. That's all I got. Passing it on to, last but not least, Mr. Robot Gentleman.
Hi guys, I'm Robotic. I played Uran, our Una's scout. The only other game I'm playing is a wonderful game with me and HP. Oh, I keep doing that. With HP playing with another friend of ours, 20's campaign. But that's basically on hiatus because of the holiday, so you can just catch me here for probably the rest of the year. And I'm gonna kick it back to our wonderful DM.
I am Last Hit Point Hero. Thank you so much for joining us in this wonderful little game. If we did not do the outros, I definitely would have forgotten, because I am awful at remembering that. It is terrible, bad HP, bad. But I do want to invite you back this upcoming Monday as Phoenix gets to deal with the mess left behind by Basilisk, because they will be the second to the train that is slowing down, being pursued by a deadly storm, with a number of traps and unpleasantries waiting for them. So we'll see what they make of that when they step through the gate Monday evening. Besides that, yep, in 1 in 20 D&D's game on Thursday, every other Thursday, in every other Tuesday, it is Oath. I cannot not think.
Yep, I know.
Warm.
Yep, every time.
Oats warm.
I can't. It is impossible for me not to immediately say Oatswarm. Turk's campaign. It's fun. It's a blast. Odyssey of the Dragon Lords. We are having a lot of fun. And I believe one of the key bits of my backstory is my character's backstory will come out next session. So that will be a lot of fun also. That's it for what I'm in right now. Thank you for joining us. Players, thank you. That was an absolute blast. I had so many contingencies planned for how violent or whatever you would get, and I will admit, I didn't really think what to do if you just walked into the place like you owned it.
Yes.
There is this problem with planning for an open-ended game like a TTRPG where there's only so much you can expect, and beyond that it's kind of the, oh well, I guess if they do something else it can't be too different from, I'm just gonna keep walking.
Who's gonna stop the heavily armed group?
Yeah, they don't even have guns over here. So there is a lot to be said about doing that. So adjust music, sorry. There is a lot to be said for all of that. I'll turn that on quietly. Any thoughts from all of you? This was an interesting and unusual session. A little bit of combat, a little bit of RP, a little bit of walking around like you own the place. Thoughts from all of you in that regard?
Anything where we break your contingencies, I feel like we did a good job.
Yep.
I feel like, you know what, I will say as a player, I like at this table, and I like HP, I like you as a GM, because I didn't feel hesitation to do something that I was pretty sure had broken a contingency plan. You know, like, I had a hunch you hadn't planned for that, and I felt safe to make that choice. That you could run with us. So I felt like this was a good session and a great table. That's what I'll say.
I'd like to say welcome, Luke to the
Yeah,
to the
welcome.
best team, best squad, best squad.
It's a little more chaotic.
I mean, it's weird because like I came in and I was like very much like, oh yeah, we're totally here. We're definitely in charge. We're from far up. And then like I realized, oh crap, she's being like leader, but she's not the leader here. So she was like, okay, I'm the newbie here. I'm just gonna follow in your lead, people.
Well, there's to me, from what I've seen, is there's a little bit of like, you're the newbie. Show us what you've got. You're gonna take the lead. Let's see where this goes a little bit, and then I feel like it was a really fun gel. Eventually, it kind of got into a really cool moment. So
my favorite part was me trying to sneak past you to get in the fight, and then realizing Ron was just sitting there like, and I was like, nope, I'll just wait here with you, buddy.
No, my favorite part was you going, wait, we're not having a meeting? Wait, what? Where's that? Like,
so many meetings. There's a meeting about having meetings. There's a meeting before. There's a meeting after. There's a meeting about the Malps. Oh my gosh. The bureaucracy.
Phoenix is very intentionally highly structured. And Basilisk is very intentionally not core going, go find something.
Yeah.
It's just... and that open-endedness, and this is something where, I appreciate you guys as players, and it's kind of the intention of it. Like Luke lock you at the end, I want to grab something shiny. One of the things to always feel free to do, I will always help find that something shiny. But if there's something and you're like, I bet there's something that measures atmospheric pressure, just whatever, bullshit it will materialize. I'm all for it. So
you guys, I've just been beaten down by Phoenix and their bureaucracy for so long.
That's why you came over.
I'm finally able to be free.
Yeah, we saw it during the crossover. I felt bad.
Wait, we just grab something? Do we just take it? Do we have to?
Not something.
have to
All
ask?
things. All of it. Just take it.
Ask who?
Yeah, she has some concern that you guys don't know who you're working for. But again, that just kind of fuels her whole, like, I'm going to find out what I need to find out, whatever the cost.
We asked the first day. He said no and just shrugged.
Yeah, wild.
It was
Pretty
the
fair,
best
pretty fair.
reaction
Yeah.
to the shadowy overlord ever was, who is it that you get your instructions from? I'm not telling you. Okay. that was
have it your way.
But I feel that was strongly in character though for like mercenaries, or there's like you're paying me, you're giving me a place to stay, you're telling me where to find shiny stuff. Okay, I don't care who's paying me. Who cares?
Right.
Something to do.
Yeah.
It was part of making the character for the team is making someone that's going to be okay with working for a shadowy organization, which means someone says you don't get to know who's the top. It's like, that's why I'm here. That's fine. I would like to know, but no is an acceptable answer.
That's fine.
2 more notes, and then I will wrap everything up because it is 12:30. This is just kind of how I went into prepping this game. There's 2 things that all of you have just been fantastic about. One of the big ones is there is another team going to go through this. Thanks for not throwing the Stargate off the train, stuff like that. But
I don't think we were too meta. We weren't too meta, were we?
No, not at all.
At the
It
end
doesn't
with the
come
traps and
across
things?
as meta.
Okay, good.
It doesn't come across as meta at all. But what it is it's the expectations that we all set as a table even before we started. We had the conversations before during session 0, this is the theme, this is the goal. Both of you, 2 teams are going to be doing this. And so that kind of acknowledgement and, even leaving traps, even the little note in there, don't make them too lethal, is what I think got snuck into my DM from Robotic about the traps he left behind.
I don't want to kill off.
Listen, I gave you the 1 bullet should be fine. I gave you that little side thing.
Yep. But that that acknowledgement is one of the things I love, and it's just a tip that I have for anybody running a table is have the expectations out front, and when everybody trusts each other, it just flows great, and everyone's fantastic at that. and I'm having a blast with that. And so that's something that I credit as being what really helps tables go, especially when you are the baddies. But you know, baddies, yes, kill the whole train full of
Monsters,
people.
No, like I said
Monsters.
You're a bad guy doesn't mean you're a bad guy.
earlier. No, just because we're bad guys, monsters. That's what I said.
Exactly. Yeah, it makes sense. So thank you for that, and that's something that continually, all of you have done fantastic. And Luca, now that you are joining the baddies, I can
Bad
see
team,
that you
bad
have
team.
that in you as well. That is it for us. Thank you for joining us this evening. So glad that you were here. If anyone has anything they want to send my way, any questions about how the session went, about what you picked up, that sort of thing, send them my way. Otherwise, thanks for joining us. Be back here in just a couple days. And until then, be good. That's the rule. Be good. Take us out.